and Twitch automated content said, no, don't. It's our birthday. It's a little late. It's also Jake Acapella's birthday, so if all of you would join me in a rousing edition of Happy Birthday, we're gonna test the stream gods and see if we don't get muted. So ready? All right, everybody. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy
Birthday, dear Star Citizen.
Happy birthday to you. All right, with that, we're gonna take a break. Hang out, get your last drinks, get your last snacks, everybody. The show's starting in about 10 minutes with our character advancement panel right there on stage. So stay tuned. If you like day one, we've got more to come, everybody. Take care, we'll see you in a bit.
damit sage ich schon mal herzlich willkommen an alle, die da sind. Mr. D, Isban, guten Abend, moin moin. Ja, ich finde es lustig, dass in dieser Vorschau hier bei Mr. D jemanden mit 3 Buchstaben, einem Punkt. Punkt, Punkt, Punkt hier in der Vorschau angezeigt wird. Ich liebe es. Das ist richtig geil. Ja, Mr. D hat das geschrieben. Freue ich mich natürlich, dass du mit live am Start bist. Grüße gehen auch raus an mein Nutchen. Ich liebe dich und wir sprechen uns. Morgen. Oder heute nochmal. Das hat sich jetzt angehört, wie als ob ich irgendwas Böses mit dir vorhätte. Ist natürlich nicht der Fall. Und damit herzlich willkommen, es geht los.
Please welcome to the stage the person who forgot to create himself an intro, Disco Lando! Woo! He also had caffeine in the last 10 minutes. Welcome to CitizenCon Day 2, everybody!
Okay, Disco ist direkt hier Anheizer. Der hat richtig Bock, das merkt man einfach. Auch den ganzen Pre-Show-Sachen und so.
Get in your seats! It's about to start, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Day 2. I'm not going to take up any more of your time. Up first, character advancement with Ian, Sean, Forrest, and Drei. Give it up! Bone, start the show!
Bone ist wieder am Start. Die Frage ist, warum heißt er Bone? Okay, jetzt kommt erstmal eins der Panels, die ich eigentlich am uninteressantesten fand. Aber ich bin gespannt, was sie hier draus machen.
It's
Die haben
so
uns schon ein
good
paar
to
Mal
see you all
überrascht.
again in person. Thanks for coming out. So I'm Ian, I'm the art director for Star Citizen. We're going to kick off the first ever day 2 of CitizenCon by talking about some of the awesome
solche.
work done by the character team. All right. So first let's talk about life in a frontier system like Pyro and how this influences the character designs.
Und
So
natürlich
we
auch
wanted to
Hallo
create
Lucia.
something unique compared to what we've seen in Stanton already. We wanted to give a wider visual palette and a feeling of historical age between the different solar systems. So this chart describes the fashion pillars for humanity. We can
Und
see
solche,
where all suits,
fragt das später
armors,
nochmal, wenn wir mehr
and
Zeit haben.
fashion items should
Dann können
belong
wir genau drauf eingehen.
in terms of material use, manufacturing technology, and novelty. So you can see Earth fashion on the left, Terra fashion on the right, and frontier fashion right in the middle with a little bit of overlap of Earth. So essentially, frontier fashion is function over form. They are repurposed and repaired, and generally are misfits rather than sets. Outfits are purposeful by having storage solutions. This implies survivability along the frontier. Okay,
Aber es hat
let's
actually
take a look
keine
at some of these
Funktionalität.
assets in the game.
Das impliziert Funktionalität, aber es hat keine. Moin Mario. Aber mir gefällt der Frontier-Style meistens so am besten, so dieses Form over Function, Mix-and-Match-mäßige. Das finde ich irgendwie immer cooler. Der Typ hat einen Kragen. Das sieht man direkt. Ich mag das mit dem, was die rechts im Bild hinten am Rücken hat. So geil, einfach immer eine Decke dabei. Das feiere ich. So würde ich auch gerne rumlaufen. Immer eine Decke dabei. So richtig cool aufgerollt hinten dran. Ja, ich verstehe, was ihr meint. Warum muss das immer dann auch so richtig unordentlich aussehen? Kann ja auch mal aufgeräumt aussehen. Ich verstehe das schon. Das ist auch ganz cool hier. Meine rechte Schulter wird immer geschlagen. Deswegen trage ich dort ein Schulterpolster. Vor allen Dingen, das sieht so aus, als ob ich mega das V-Ausschnitt-Shirt anhab. Aber ich habe einfach mir ein Dutzend Badges hier irgendwie dran gemacht. Und die ziehen mein T-Shirt absolut runter. Wenn ich das T-Shirt bewege, klimper ich einfach. Wo es hier gerade um Fashion geht. Cool, also sieht schick aus. Ja, war auch ein schönes Panel jetzt. Nächstes Panel ist Live in the First Person. Da bin ich auch gespannt. Cooler Helm, der wird vielen gefallen, glaube ich. Den finde ich, der ist unique, der ist cool.
Okay, awesome. So hopefully you guys that played Pirate Playground, you will have seen a few of those assets being showcased. So as we saw from the video, pouches and storage are a key part of the Frontier aesthetic. This drives the feeling of survivability. But from here, we thought it'd be really cool to give the functionality, but also some customization options. So let's take a look at a video we just developed internally, and this is for modular storage items on the player.
Oh, okay, das ist cool. Sowas feiere ich. Ich hätte auch sehr, sehr gerne endlich Waffenholster und so weiter bei normaler Daywear-Kleidung. Und nicht nur, wenn man einen Spacesuit anhat. Das wäre auch noch so. Wenn man das irgendwie an Kleidung einfach modular dran packen kann. Das wäre der Hammer. Gürtel. Gibt uns Gürtel. Irgendwie sowas. Nice. Also man hat dann quasi so kleine Täschchen, die kann man sich dran packen. Jetzt ab ins Inventar und dann dran ziehen. Wo kann man die dran ziehen überall? Da hat man eine Menge Möglichkeiten. Okay, das ist cool. Yes, oh Gott, oh ja. Und da dann Waffenholster noch irgendwie auch an die Beine. Und das ist kein Spacesuit, Leute. Das ist ein... Ist das geil, endlich. Das feiere ich ja absolut. Ich wusste, das Panel überrascht uns auch wieder irgendwo. Hoffentlich geht das direkt bei jeder Kleidung. Wir müssen nur noch einmal das komplette Inventar generell überarbeiten. Ich meine, das sieht jetzt natürlich ein bisschen lächerlich aus, so mit einem rechts unten am Bein, aber das ist egal. Genau, endlich Wolle schlaufen.
So I think this will provide loads of customization options in the future. We're super happy about that. So we also created some extreme weather costumes for Frontier locations. And these also follow the same mismatched and repurposed design aesthetics. Now, we've also been focusing on achieving a higher visual benchmark. So this is all driven by our new Layer Blend V2 shader and its texture library. And we focused on more consistent wearing between 0 and 100% values. So to showcase this, let's look at a quick example asset.
Okay. Der coole neue Helm. Altert der gerade schon, oder? Oh, den kann man so hochklappen. Okay, cool. Warum auch immer. Allein dieses Frontteil ist ja so hoch detailliert. Eieiei.
All right.
Nette SM-Maske.
So as we saw in the video, the insides of the helmets are looking fantastic. Now this is us getting them ready to animate with put on and take off.
Okay.
So in summary, Frontier Fashion is expanding the visual design palette for humans.
Das ist
Giving a more credible feeling
neuer
of age
Sexshop.
and history when you travel across multiple solar systems.
Die schön mit Freelancer.
All right. Now let's
Deluxe.
talk about something different. Now we're going to talk about some of the gangs in Star Citizen. So
Und Halsey
Ninetales
Extendable.
have been one of the main gangs in the game. So far,
Expendable. Ja, geil.
over 105 million
Extendable.
have been taken out by you guys.
Ja, war ja keine große Herausforderung. Die stehen ja nur da. machen nichts.
So you guys have been busy. Great job. All right. So it was like, all right, now we're going to need to introduce a few more factions to the game, okay? So the first faction we're going to talk about is Rough and Ready. So the aesthetic of the gang was to be subtle. They're understated in terms of clothing, and they almost blend into their environment. On closer inspection, you'll notice their tattoos. These signify rank and progression within the gang. Let's take a look at a quick video.
Das heißt, wir werden viel mehr oberkörperfreie Leute sehen, offenbar. Also so eine Art Sofa gab es bei uns im Studentenclub. Da gab es ein Sofa. Da saß ich auch oft drauf. Aber selten oberkörperfrei. Coole Tattoos auf jeden Fall. Ich weiß auf jeden Fall schon, dass wir demnächst viele Reddit-Posts sehen werden, wo sich Leute sowas alles in real dann tätowieren lassen. Safe. Das Problem ist, diese Gangmitglieder haben ein Problem, sobald sie in Space-Suit quasi sind. Dann weiß auf jeden Fall niemand mehr, wer ist jetzt hier
absolutely fantastic. Okay.
Durchsichtige...
So the Rough and Ready can be found in some of the space stations around Pyro. Now the tattoos, like I said, the tattoos form a progressive design. This illustrates the hierarchy within the gang. As a player, you'll be able to earn these tattoos and apply them to your character.
Und auf Insta leider. Aber auf Insta meistens nur so 10 Sekunden bis 20. Lunas Posts angucken. Vielleicht die
Okay, cool. The next gang we're going to talk about is Headhunters.
Noch ein paar anderen, aber...
So this gang is also located in Pyro, but offers a completely different frontier aesthetic. More of a wasteland vibe, with lots of personality, and this will translate into the behavior types. Now this gang is currently in production, but let's take a quick sneak peek.
Okay, auch die haben auf jeden Fall Tattoos. Die sehen aber auf jeden Fall anders aus, die Tattoos. Ist auf jeden Fall, ist was anderes. Ist nicht so meins, aber es ist cool. Warum nicht? Die mögen Totenschädel. Who am I to judge? Der Gürtel. Ich meine, ist auf jeden Fall ein Hingucker. Ja, Barty, ich weiß, was du meinst. Ich nehme an, das liegt einfach ein bisschen daran, dass jetzt hier ist natürlich alles so aus Schrott so ein bisschen zusammengesetzt. Das ist ja so ein bisschen der Flair, den sie mit Pyro rüberbringen wollen. In Stanton, die Ninetales, die haben ja schwarz mit lila drauf. Ist auch nicht unbedingt meins, aber die haben richtige Raumanzüge und richtige Rüstungen und sowas. Die Farbkombos gefallen mir nur persönlich nicht so. Aber wir werden noch ganz viele weitere Piratengangs und Fraktionen und so weiter sehen. Das ist jetzt halt... Oh Mann! Das?
Okay,
Die haben wir von allen
cosplay
Ewigkeit schon
competition next
gesehen.
year. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. All right. All right. So they're looking awesome. Now, the last gang we want to talk about is dusters. So dusters are a criminal gang specializing in mining-related crimes. Now, internally,
Die
I
sehen
love
cool aus.
the original Desert Nomad armor. You can see him here, right? Now, I wanted to use it as a starting point to establish the dusters design language. So here we can see
Die finde ich, die sehen viel cooler aus. Und auch wieder ganz anders. Also da sieht ja wirklich auch jede Gang so hart anders aus,
So
dass
here
ich
we
das
can
okay
see the
finde, wenn ein
Dusters
paar so
gang
richtig
lineup,
lächerlich aussehen,
showing
in
armor
Anführungszeichen.
leveling and rarity. So as a player, you'll have horizontal armor progression. This will define your role and playstyle. Then you'll have vertical progression. This is your progression within that role and playstyle. For example, a common bounty hunter armor set will be weaker than a legendary, and as armor progresses in strength, it's harder to acquire. So harder missions, rarer drops, higher reputation. Now, as we're talking a little bit about armor sets,
Finde
let's
ich gut, das
recap a little.
Konzept.
So the goal is that players should consider which armor to equip based on the role they wish to fill and the scenario they're heading into. There will be also greater differences between the current armor types. So light, medium, and heavy, and this will be in protection and mobility.
Ja, das
New
haben
armor
wir ja schon so ein
categories
bisschen.
will be combat, specialist, utility, and support.
Ergibt Sinn. Ich bin gespannt, was die wirklichen Unterschiede sein werden.
And these will define the type of items that are quickly available on the slots of the suit.
Ups, Kaffee verschüttet.
There will also be additional functionality to assist in your chosen role. A matrix of armor type versus category will provide a variety of roles, with each providing best-in-class benefits. There will also be hindrances to out-of-role gameplay. For example, if you're wearing a heavy armor set and you're trying to fly a little snub fighter, you'll have restricted visibility and less vehicle control.
Weil irgendwie sich dein Brustpanzer dann so nach vor deine Sicht schiebt.
So in this scenario, like a flight suit armor type with
Aber
resistance to mild
Sie haben gerade gesagt,
G-forces
man kann
would
dann
be
trotzdem
preferred.
das fliegen.
Okay.
Man hat nur Einschränkungen dann.
So as we saw in Ali's presentation yesterday, hygiene simulates and tracks the accumulated effects of a character going unwashed for any length of time.
Das finde ich cool.
Poor hygiene
Endlich duschen
can
nutzen.
lead to disease,
Oh,
lowered
okay.
health, and snarky comments. Hygiene decays faster if a character becomes dirty or wears dirty clothing or armor, and visual effects are going to be displayed on the character's skin, such as blood, sweat, and dirt. Certain usables, such as a shower, will reset the character's hygiene and clean away all of those dirt effects. So let's keep clean. Yeah.
Finde ich gut. Das ist keine zu große Einschränkung, aber das ist cool. Auch wenn man mal ein bisschen unterwegs
Okay,
ist, dass
so
man
that
das auch an
covers a
den
quick
Charakteren sieht.
recap on armor sets and hygiene. Let's get
Solche
back to a
geht direkt
video
total ab.
showcasing the dusters.
Meine Ohren, da würde ich niemals etwas draufpacken. Meine Ohren müssen frei sein wie der Himmel. Die sind wunderschön. Seht meine prächtigen Ohren, Freunde. Und ich sehe eure. Aber eure Kackaugen könnt ihr bitte verbergen. Der hat immer eine Kapuze auf, da sieht man dann die Ohren wieder nicht. Ich meine, es ergibt natürlich Sinn, damit man seine Umgebung hören kann. Oder so. Aber das heißt dann wiederum, das sind keine Spacesuits, oder wie?
Awesome. So you'll be able to find the dusters scattered around various derelict settlements and wrecks.
Barty, wie findest du die? Findest du
dusters will be
die
available
auch lächerlich
before
oder
this
sind
year.
die ein bisschen cooler als die anderen?
And with that, I'll hand you over to Sean Tracy.
Finde ich bisher die
You guys have
coolsten
been awesome.
Piraten.
Enjoy the rest of your show.
Mäßigen, die wir haben. Auch lächerlich.
Hello
Okay,
everyone.
armer Barty. Aber dann schließt sich einfach nicht den Piraten an. Dann bist du ja
Alright, so
safe
I'm
davor.
Sean Tracy. I'm the Senior Director
Schieß
of
alle ab.
Tools and Tech Content here at Cloud Imperium Games in Los Angeles. So today I want to talk about Starcloth. And Starcloth
Ja,
was
das Ding ist
initially unveiled
realistischer
at a previous
Sci-Fi-Look ist
CitizenCon,
leider
kind of
genau
in an
das,
early
weil
stage. So
im
it's now
Kampf
rolled
ziehen
into
Menschen
full
dann
production,
schwarze
and it's
oder grüne
used in both
Marine-Rüstung
Squadron
an.
42 and Star
Wenn du nicht im
Citizen.
Kampf bist, dann
So
setzt
it's
du
going to
halt
be seen on
deine
more and more assets
Freizeit
like some of the great
Helme
art
auf.
that you just saw.
Also, es
So
ist ja
what's
jetzt
really
nicht
cool
anders.
about it is that it's unified with the physical world,
Wenn
whereas
ich in den Krieg
before
ziehe,
it
sehe ich
wasn't
anders aus,
unified
als
and
wenn
was
ich
based
auf eine
completely on
Convention
character
gehe
movement.
oder irgendwie
Now it's faster than the
mit Freunden
previous cloth
abhänge.
setups, and in the end it just looks a
oder
whole
auf
lot
Arbeit
better.
bin.
So today I'm going to cover some of the tech, the pipeline, and we'll see some results. So let's get and see it in action.
Bubis Rüstung? Was meinst du damit?
Trench coat. Cloth is hard. Guys have to run upstairs, they have to crouch, they have to prone. It's got to collide with the environment.
Ich finde den Mantel cool.
And even more difficult, it needs to hold up in high-end cinematics.
Das ist halt das Ding. Jeder kann ja machen, was er will. Ich verstehe das. Das ist eigentlich auch die meisten Rüstungen gefallen mir auch nicht. Und die finde ich auch zu Power Rangers mäßig. Aber ich meine, guck mal, selbst die Marines sehen halt hier so ein bisschen Power Ranger mäßig aus. Und das ist halt einfach irgendwie der Style, den sie gehen. Und da muss man halt gucken, ob man was findet, was einem gefällt. Aber ja.
I cut that one just before some good spoilers, so. Yeah. All right, so how's it all work? Well, cloth uses two meshes, a simulation mesh
Das fände
or
ich lustig,
cage,
so
and the
aufgemalte
render mesh
Brüste,
itself.
aufgemalte
So vertex
Männerkörper
colors
und alles
indicate
mögliche.
how
Warum
it's
nicht?
constrained to that cage, and thus the simulation. So for example, black
Florian.
vertex colors indicate a full constraint. Basically, it follows the skinning. White vertex colors indicate
Florian.
unconstrained vertices. So the movement is determined entirely by the simulation. And then
Genau,
we
ich
can
sehe das
do
wie
a
Goga.
blend of gray values
Man muss es nicht
that is
mögen,
used for fine
mag ich auch nicht
transitions and
unbedingt.
blending and fall off
Aber kann ja
in
jeder
between the
machen, wer
fully
will.
skinned and fully simulated assets. So in the end, these meshes
Ich
are
muss-
sent to the engine,
ich
where
muss
we
auch damit
bind the
leben, dass
cage
Leute
to the
mit
render mesh,
SUVs
and then
durch die
tech artists
Innenstadt
can
fahren,
leverage some of the runtime
wo
tools.
ich mir auch nur denke,
you can see
oh.
up on the image that the sim cage mesh has about
Wozu hier?
5,000 triangles, whereas the actual
Aber die
render
haben
mesh is
bestimmt
about
ihre Berechtigung
45,000
und Gründe und
triangles.
dann
So it's
meinetwegen.
obviously much more efficient to simulate the sim cage mesh versus just the render mesh itself. So part of the technology is the runtime iteration support, which you can see in the image above me here. That's with all the red spheres. Here we're actually painting the collision radius
Ja,
of
leichte
every
Rüstung
single
finde ich auch
one of the
geiler.
vertices. And it allows us to fine-tune the simulation
Meistens,
without
weil die sind nicht
having
so-
to add arbitrary collision meshes, though we can.
Das haben wir ja gestern schon mal gehört, alles.
We paint a variety of properties, so some of these other properties are mass or displacement. In the top right, you can see an example of the old legacy implementation using pendulums. And this uses joint chains and
Schauspieler,
collisions. But assets with multiple
guck
layers,
das
like the
kurz.
one
Sam
that you can
Altman?
see
Nee.
there,
Nee, nee.
or ones
Sam
like
Altman,
skirts
der
or
Leiter von
gowns,
OpenAI.
they
Ja,
were
ja, ja,
really,
ja.
really difficult to do with pendulum
Ahnung,
simulation, but they
was
are
das gerade war.
solved with Starcloth. So I mentioned it's completely unified with the physical world. And what that really means is that wind, impacts, object collisions, thruster backwash, all these kind of things actually react to the cloth reacts to these things, and so much more. So it's not just character movement. Now, it's a hyper-efficient simulation, and it's several orders of magnitude faster than the legacy implementation that we used before, and has a lot of easy-to-control parameters for tech art, which are compression, stretching, and bending. So as mentioned yesterday by Chris Reysn, our senior lead physics programmer, we support soft body tapered capsules, which are twice as fast as our ragdoll capsules. It's also key to solving one of the most important aspects of plausible cloth simulation, and that's mitigating the tunneling or the clipping that happens through a character. So it's very, very difficult to solve with pendulums.
Nicht Sam Altman,
So with all this
sondern
tech
Gary
in mind,
Oldman.
we can do
Deswegen
really
kam die
complicated
Verbindung.
assets like the duster and the one I want to show you now.
So ist der Schauspieler.
So here you're seeing about 5 different
schwarzen
layers of
Trenchcoat. Kenn ich.
cloth going on and self-colliding between each other.
Das sieht cool aus.
It's reacting to the planet wind, which is always changing. On the front, there's a big leather apron. So this one's actually a lot heavier, and it moves a lot differently than the cloth on the back.
Ah, cool. So, das haben wir gestern noch nicht gesehen, dass man da wirklich die unterschiedlichen Properties auch hat.
So he's walking into the wind here.
Das Ding ist halt, die Kapuze bewegt sich kein Stück. Sehr stabile Kapuze.
And in the end, as I mentioned, it just looks a whole lot better.
Ja, es hat halt nur noch jetzt die Kapuze, ne? Die hätten ihm vielleicht einfach keine Kapuze aufsetzen müssen, dann wäre das nicht aufgefallen. Stimmt, jetzt fehlt nur noch das Laserschwert, ja.
So with that, I want to hand you off to my friend, Andre Piers, who's going to talk about hair.
Thank you, man.
So, wir hören nochmal über Haare.
Hi, everyone. So, nice to be here in LA with all you guys. So, I want to start with a question, okay? How many of you are actually excited that we're getting new hair into the verse? All right. So, I'm Andre. I'm the lead artist in our recently formed hair department. We branched out from the character art team and created this department. And it's a pleasure to be here today with all of you and tell you that we're damn proud of what we achieved. It's been a long road, but definitely worth it, okay? Now, we're going to start by just looking at the most impactful changes that we have in our workflow, okay? A bit of a technicality part. Then you're going to get to look at the benchmark assets we have created. Okay, and from there we're going to take a glimpse into the future of what hair could be with a more diverse hairstyle, where we're trying to run away a little bit from the military look that was driven mostly by what Squadron 42 was, so because we did a lot of work for that as well. And yeah, from there, as a last note, I'll have a special announcement for you guys. Okay. Don't want to spoil it, but you stick around, you're going to love what we have, okay? So, first thing I want to touch now, very simply, okay? Hair for games is hard. It's really hard. Oh, by the way, did I tell you these are actually game-ready assets in the persistent universe?
Ja, gibt's die jetzt schon, oder?
Fully rendered in our engine, okay? Game-ready, performant, ready to be shipped, okay?
Ready to be shipped, okay.
Hair is really hard, like
Coole
I was saying.
Styles.
It is a AAA challenge, basically. You see games that get it, games that don't.
Nice,
some
danke
of
dir,
them
Paco.
get it more or less. Either way, for us the challenge is the same. We're not different, and the challenge is real. We scope a Star Citizen, like day-night cycles, all these light shafts, all this MMO, people running around with the hairs, a lot of motion, a lot of fast-paced movement. Yeah, it is hard. But the best thing is, we have arrived, okay? It is, yeah, clap. It is, it doesn't end here, okay? Yeah. It does not end here, okay? It's the nature of CIG. We just keep pushing the boundaries, but like I said, we're really proud of what we're showing you here today. So let's dive in what we made all this possible, okay? On a high note, on a high level, basically, a successful hair requires three fundamental elements, okay? There's the texture, there's the placement, and there's also the shader. If one of these elements fails, all of them do, okay? So it's basically, you can have a great texture, great placement. If your shader is wrong, no go, really. And the same if the texture fails.
Ja, ich finde das zweite Bild ganz geil bei Placement. Können wir das als Frisur
really
haben?
Important that
Einfach
everything
die kein
works
Konfetti-Haare.
together. The good thing is, by breaking down the hair into these three parts, it also allows us to actually go deep into each of them and push the quality up. Or like Chris Roberts would say, bring the high fidelity, right? So, on the texture end, there was a lot of changes. What you see on the top there, the common approach of a AAA game would be to have true black, true white on a transparency map, a bit of taper on the tips and roots, and call it a day. That's what happens in 99% of the games. Now at CIG, we went a bit further than that. We tested all the thicknesses that were actually reasonable to test, of course, and we came to a realization. The hair doesn't need to be thin enough. It just needs to look thin. We do need it to be thicker enough, thicker than real life hair, because if you take one of your hairs, you'll see it's really thin, right? So it does need to be renderable. That means if it's really thin, it will be sub-pixel rendered at some point. With the motion and all that, we will get a lot of artifacts. And so that would be a no-go. We do need it to be thicker than in real life. But can we make it look thin? That was the question. So we came to the realization that from hair, or from scalp to hair, and from hair to the background, so these 2 points, the transition points, are the most important ones for the hair. So we aggressively tapered the tips, which is what you see over there, and added a gradient to it. So no longer true black and true white. Now, this is a lot of technicality. You'll see practical examples of this, but that allowed us to have smooth transitions and basically achieve the result we expected. On the placement side, we came up with hair libraries, basically. Now, I could be here all day talking about hair libraries, okay? Because I'm a very technical person, and if you see me around the venue, feel free, I'm Andre. You can just come and talk to me about this. I'm not going to bother you all that for 1 hour about this, but I'm going to give you a very quick example that you all can relate. So, imagine in real life, you have a construction business, and you can make one wall, one roof, one floor, and one window. You make it all work together, and from there, you're not only building your house, you're actually building
Life of Pi,
the whole
hieß
town.
der so?
And then
Wo der Typ mit dem Tiger auf
the
dem
whole
Boot
state,
ist.
and then eventually the old
Die
universe.
haben jedes Haar vom Tiger
Right?
irgendwie einzeln
That's
animiert.
what air libraries are. Obviously, the result, if you could do that, it would be much cheaper, much faster, and above all, you wouldn't have a fruit salad of assets, which was what we had in the hair not too long ago. And by fruit salad, I mean several artists working through the years, each one of them applying their own workflow. Everybody's at different levels of quality, of course, different minds, different ways of seeing the same problem. So, at the end of the day, fruit salad, right? And we wanted uniform quality. So for that, hair libraries are a great solution. We also decreased the time of production of hairs. So, it was taking us 20 to 40 days to create one hairstyle per artist, okay? Right now, it's going from like
20 to 40 days
per hairstyle, which is great news, okay?
Ist immer noch ganz schön lang, oder?
Yeah, that was major achievement.
Hairstyle, meinen die damit eine Frisur oder eine Library irgendwie?
So, hair libraries are just a thing. We love it. It's not just picking up a texture and putting it there. If you do that, like, you need to actually see the scope. Gladly, we have some of the best artists in the world on hair working with us, so we managed to achieve this at the scope that we wanted. Now, on the shader side, there was plenty of changes as well. Some of them are very techy, very, very cool as well. I'm going to run through fast some of them so you guys can understand the scope of what we're dealing with. But let's just understand, like, at bake time, so bake time is prior to runtime. Runtime is where the game runs. Bake time, we're preparing the asset to actually put it in the engine. At bake time, we calculate the custom normal and we store it per vertex. So each vertex gets a custom normal. That makes, in a practical sense, for those who are not too technical, it basically makes the card, the air card, not look like a card. So the normals help with the way the light reflects, we kind of do more smoke and mirrors on it and make it look not like a card by just making it that way. Now, on the ambient occlusion, we store two baked ambient occlusions onto the color channels of the vertices as well. Now, each vertex on a mesh in any game has a color to it, okay? You might use it or not. Imagine in a car, you have a trunk. You can use it or not. It's up to you. You don't, it's not silly to use the car without using the trunk, of course, but if you have a luggage, you can put it there or in the back seat, wherever you want. Now, we decided to use this because it was free. The trunk was already there, so the vertex color was already there, and we just decided to store two ambient occlusions on it. These two ambient occlusions work this way. Light hairs, like a blonde hair, obviously needs more shadowing, or less shadowing than a dark hair, right? And so we store two. The length of the card is now baked onto the last one, and that gives us a metric of where the card starts and ends, and allows a lot of cool things you're going to see on the videos I'm about to show. So, one last thing before we can start looking at videos is that, and this is really creative, total credit for the people, for the tools programmers.
Er sagt die ganze Zeit Cut. Ich dachte Cut und nicht so echt. Er meinte Haircut die ganze Zeit. Ich habe nicht gerafft, was er gesagt hat. Jetzt raff ich überhaupt das, was er die ganze Zeit redet. Er redet über die Stränge, die einzelnen Stränge. Jetzt ergibt es auf einmal Sinn. Ich war die ganze Zeit so, ich verstehe es nicht. Warum verstehe ich es nicht?
It is just there. Sometimes we use it for
Manchmal,
shadowing. That thing has an UV. And so we project the hair, or where the hair starts, onto that UV, and gives us that image that you see on the middle, right? And so we now have a 2D space that relates to a 3D location.
Die Haare rechts sehen so
Meaning
gut aus.
that if I want to have hair like mine, which is white on the sides and dark on the top, I could just paint this
echt
part
realistisch. Wow.
and get it white on one side and then dark on the top, which is an insane advancement, because cards normally are stacked on top of each other. So when an artist is placing cards, if you paint one card to make it white here, well, it's going to be stacked on top of the other, and you're going to get spots all over the place, and no control over it. So this allows us to give control. And what you see on the last image is the possible result. For example, now,
ja, ich würde auch nicht mit dem tauschen wollen, aber macht das extrem souverän und sehr gut.
Of my 3D space and get this possible result, which is pretty amazing.
Und wir wissen ja schon, dass es manchmal hier sehr technisch wird. Und dann geht's halt mal nur um Haare. Und ich glaube, wir alle haben Bock auf bessere Haare.
Next video, we're going to take a look at our tools, okay? This is not the way it's going to be exposed to you guys in the character customizer. You'll know more about that later, okay? This is the tools we use we are able to actually create the hairstyles. So let's take a look at this video.
Haben wir doch endlich mal längere Haare, oder? Ist doch schon mal ein
full
bisschen
range,
was.
so you can go for full white. These are melanin ranges, so realistic ranges. Fully white up to black. Obviously, you can go redhead as well.
Wie einer so schreit. Redhead!
Get out of the way.
Es sieht auch echt gut aus, wirklich.
You also have the dye feature, where you can see all the things we talked about implemented. You can go a bit more wild on this.
Da ist aber der Haaransatz nicht gut gefärbt hier. Da muss die Färbung nochmal in den Haaransatz rein. Sieht dadurch natürlich nochmal realistischer aus. Oh, cool, man kann sogar so Strähnen quasi machen, oder was?
And this is why
Das ist schon
the length of the
beeindruckend.
card is stored in those vertexes. And obviously you can fade it as well as much.
Und dann sieht es nicht auch nicht mehr so aus wie komische bunte Haare einfach nur, sondern wirklich wie gefärbte Haare.
The dye layer, okay? This is how the occlusion is working, so you can see these shadowings creating more negative spaces, more structure to the hair. And if you look at the temporal line here, you can see how this pixel depth of set helps us with the transitions as well. Cool. By the way, did I tell you these are actually game-ready assets, ready to go to PU?
Die Färbemechanik, das Ding ist, die Schiffe, die können das schon lange. Alle Schiffe könnten einfach mit dem Hexcode eingefärbt werden. Das wissen wir doch jetzt schon seit Jahren. Viele Skins sind nur das. Und das könnten sie uns easy geben. Das hier ist beeindruckender, noch als Schiff einzufärben. Und das ist kein sinnloses Feature. Es ist ja nicht so, als ob die Artists hier irgendwie Server-Meshing bauen könnten oder neue Schiffe kreieren oder irgendwas. Also die sind halt dafür angestellt und machen das. Und das ist nicht sinnlos, das ist cool. Sonst beschweren sich die Leute nämlich hinterher, ja, aber dafür sehen, guck mal, wie die Charaktere aussehen. Gar nicht zeitgemäß. Und jetzt ist es auf jeden Fall mehr als zeitgemäß. Ja, das stimmt, wenn man einzelne Teile einfärben könnte, so, das wäre natürlich richtig Highlight. Das finde ich richtig gut. Aber ich glaube, das kriegen wir nicht. Aber das wäre cool. Ich glaube, am geilsten wäre es natürlich, wenn man es wirklich so Spray painten könnte. Die Schiffe. Aber dann ist die Gefahr zu groß, dass alle mit einem riesigen Penis darauf lackiert rumfliegen. Oder jemand anderes einfach ankommt und dein Schiff da einen Penis drauf malt. Oder so. Graffiti wäre so ein Ding dann. Was auch wieder irgendwie geil wäre. Weg von meinem Schiff, ihr Badhausen! Aber ja, so einzelne Teile einfärben wäre geil. Ich hoffe auch, dass wir das bald bekommen dann. Ja, also für alle hier Machinima-Produzenten wird das natürlich richtig geil. Hier auch noch grau meliert, so, das ist schon cool. Guten Abend, Freeze. Wie lange geht das heute? Ich nehme mal an, sogar länger als gestern. Ja, müsste. Kommt drauf an, wie lang hier die End-Keynote wird, aber die wird später.
Right, guys, so I can
ich habe schon vorgeschlafen extra.
You really enjoyed the die, so I'm gonna try and direct things that way next time. Pretty cool. Okay, yeah, these are game-ready assets as well. Now, like I promised you, we're trying to make this diverse and get away a little bit from this type of hairstyles you just see now, which is a bit more
Oh, gibt's jetzt Dreadlocks, endlich? Und sowas in Curly Hair und alles?
We'll have the next video. Now, it's important for you to understand if there's any 3D artists, character artists, air artists
ja,
out there,
sehr
you will know. Some of the hairstyles you're going to see next are some of the hardest things you can do in hair for games.
Ja, also sind Dreads und Curly Hair so.
What is going to be shown next and render it at 60 frames per second on an MMO, you can do pretty much anything.
Das war am Anfang von Panel Freeze, ja. Man wird dreckig, auch dreckiger, wenn die Ausrüstung dreckig ist, die man anhat. Und dann kann man krank werden. Man muss duschen dann.
Showing you that if this style is one of the directions, then the full range will come. I hope you enjoy.
Genau, endlich werden Duschen in Schiffen relevant. Wow, also das ist mal richtig eine geile Flechtfrisur. Die habe ich so noch nie so gut, also so habe ich die noch nie gesehen. Ich habe diese Art von Frisur schon in vielen Spielen gesehen, aber ich fand meist, das sah nicht gut aus. Und da haben wir Dreads. Die sehen fast ein bisschen tentakelmäßig aus, aber auch richtig gut. Da hat man richtig direkt Bock, die zu stopfen mit so einem Stopfer. Mit so einem Dread-Stopfer. Das fand ich immer so, super faszinierend. Das habe ich dann auch bei meinem Kumpel gemacht. So, lass mich mal dein Dread stopfen. Wie geht das? Eieiei, das ist ja auch eine krasse... Okay, ja, für die Frisur kann man eine Woche brauchen. Okay. Meinetwegen. Da braucht man schon in echt eine Woche, um die zu machen. Wie soll man die Frisuren in die Hände... Ich frage mich, ob Luna jetzt noch zuguckt und das auch filmt. Das ist ja wirklich krass. Also das sieht ja so realistisch aus. Wie soll man die Frisur in Helme bekommen? Na, wie jetzt auch es sein sollte theoretisch, dass man halt die Helme einfach drüber zieht und die werden halt geklippt. Also die klippen nicht durch, sondern die quasi als ob die platt gedrückt werden. Vermutlich werden sie erstmal einfach durchklippen.
Thank you guys.
Richtig cool.
Like I've been saying, these pictures you see here, they are all rendered as you've seen in real time, depending on the light conditions and stuff. But there is no tricks here. This is actually how it looks.
Allein wie die Lichtreflexionen da sind.
And that's why we're really proud. Like I said, it doesn't end up here, okay? We're pushing this forward. This is just
Alles klar, Guga. Ich wünsche dir auch viel
I'm
Spaß.
pretty sure you guys were tired. Nobody at CIG was happy with what we had.
Oder euch.
I can assure you that. Yeah. Especially as an artist, right? So, but we finally arrived. Now,
genau, also die werden nicht gerendert, vermutlich.
What does this mean in a practical sense for you guys? It's the question you may have. Well, let me tell you really fast. We made over 75 hairstyles since like 6 months ago. On the last 6 months, we made 75 hairstyles. That is a lot. That was possible with all the changes we made. Yeah.
Richtig, das sind eine Menge. Das sind eine Menge.
That is a great achievement. Now, we cannot hand them all to you right now. It's very simple. It's very simple. It doesn't end up here at the artist end, okay? After this, there's a tech art pass where they need to skin it. They need to make it work with hats, with goggles, with everything that needs to work, right? So it's a process that takes time, but we wanted to have a certain amount, a quantity that would be enough to replace all the stuff that it's there, give you enough variety for you to start, and that's what we're going to see next. Now, it also tells you when are you getting it. So, as a last note, I'll leave you with this video, and next, Forrest will come here to talk about this stuff. So, let's take a look at this, guys.
Okay, dann mal gucken, wann wir das alles bekommen und was wir jetzt im ersten Moment bekommen.
Into the PU.
Ja, ein paar geile Kurzhaarfrisuren hier erstmal. Die sehen auch echt gut aus, gefällt mir, sind schicke dabei. Sind wirklich mal richtig schicke Frisuren einfach. Schicke Kurzhaarschnitte. Jetzt geht's hier ein bisschen in die mittellange Richtung und auch ein paar lange Haare dabei. Und guckt mal, da ist einiges schon mal dabei. Und hoffentlich kriegen wir auch direkt ein paar von den Dreads. Komm, und jetzt noch ein paar Dreads. Okay, leider nicht. Das wäre jetzt noch Highlight gewesen. Okay, ja.
So
I believe it when it's there.
You're all gonna get to enjoy these hairstyles. It was a pleasure to be here with you today, guys.
Wenn wir es im Verse haben, glaube ich's. Ansonsten, wenn jetzt hier Q4 dieses Jahres, natürlich, ja. Erstmal abwarten.
Another round of applause for Andre and getting new hairs into the game.
Aber
I
ich nehme
can't
an,
wait
das
to
ist
put new
realistisch.
hair on my character, I'll tell you that. And for Ian and his awesome character team and the amazing characters they showed us earlier. Absolutely fantastic. I'm going to run through this. We don't have a lot of time. I'm going to talk to you about character heads. We've talked about hair. We have talked about outfits. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the heads and our pipeline and getting us from the actors that we hire to do the photogrammetry all the way to the game characters.
Ich kann nicht gerade mal sagen, ob das gerade ein realer Mensch ist
So
oder
we have a
nicht.
DNA pool, expansion, and customization. I'm going to be
Nee, das
taking
ist
you
kein realer
through.
Mensch.
We made a data-driven pipeline for adding new heads. So what is a DNA pool? DNA pool is just a bunch of heads that we put into the game. That way you can modify the ears, the nose, the chin, the mouth, and you could interpolate between all the different heads. A DNA pool. We want to expand the pool and allow for more selection and range. So we scanned 60 new heads for our DNA pool. 60 new heads.
Wow,
we
da
process them
ordentlich neue
internally.
Vielfalt.
We also added customizable facial features, skin tones, complexion, makeup layer on top, revisited the eyes. These
Makeup,
characters
cool.
look new and they look great. All right, so our current pool, there's the 18 heads right there, but that wasn't enough. We need more. That is our new pool.
Nice, nice. Viele, viele Köpfe.
Very exciting.
Ja, aktuell nimmt
Right
uns dann
now
immer
in
den
the
Standardkopf.
PU,
Aber
when
es geht ja auch um
you're playing,
NPCs, dass
See
die ein
that
bisschen
center
diverser
row?
werden.
You get 9
was sehr
females
cool
and
ist.
9 males. And now
Und
we
wir
get
auch
we're going to be
irgendwann.
getting all these characters. It's for Squadron and the Persistent Universe. How do we do it? Well, we partnered with Clear Angle over in Pinewood, London. And they have this thing called the Clear Angle Dorothy scanner. The scanner improvements allows us to get shoots done in 4 weeks of sessions. Custom coded flash that just kind of does it automatically, all calibrated in seconds. To give you an idea, our old process for doing this took hours to calibrate. This thing does it in seconds. Talk about state of the art. Average of 4 scan actors per day now. We used to be doing 1. What this means to you is we can get you characters faster. We can get you new heads faster. Polarized image data resulted in improved spec, blah, blah, blah. Those are awesome texture maps that we could put on the head. That way we could render them, make them look really good. Photogrammetry captured in raw images at 8K texture map resolutions. Hyper accurate scan results. Now, close your eyes if you're a little sensitive to light. This is the process we use to get the pictures, to build the photogrammetry, to calibrate the cameras.
Oh, das sieht ja scary aus. Irgendwie.
All right. So we got some characters here on the screen. Those are all built using all these things that I've briefly mentioned. I want to talk to you a little bit about skin tone though. Skin tone's tricky because we want to apply it. We want to be able to customize it. We want you to have the ability to do whatever you want. So what you see is some really weird looking characters. We see a head with some yellow. Yellow's good in this case. What we're trying to do is we're trying to find the average skin color. Once we find the average skin color, we can figure out what that skin tone is, and then we can apply it. The blue means it's further away from the average skin tone. So when you apply your skin tone, it has less influence, keeping those high details, keeping the color, the blemishes, the imperfections. That middle one, that whitehead, that's where we get once we've extracted the data. It's now ready to apply the skin tone, which you see at the end. All right, so here's a little more detail what I'm talking about. We knew that we were going to get a pool for these heads, this pool of all these different awesome shapes, noses, ears, lips. But now, with what we're doing currently, you can see that we have calibrated all of our source photos of our actors. And with that, we could figure out exactly what they're supposed to look like. And then once I extract and do the average thing, I'm able to get a value. And that value translates into a skin tone. And that skin tone translates into a chart that you can customize your character with. And what's great about this is as we grow our pool and we get more heads, we get more skin tones. So our skin tones aren't based on, you know, whatever it should be, what should it be, what does it look like? These are real data. These are real data that we get from these incredible clear angle scans and the incredible tech that is written by our staff. And the skin tone will grow along with our head data and along with our heads. And there's an example of me just applying it and showing that in practice. And now here's another look. Here's a couple more characters that I put together with this stuff.
Sehen alle sehr realistisch
And here's what's great about that. I did that with our brand new character creator, character customizer for Squadron 42.
Ich hoffe sehr, dass sie endlich vielleicht irgendwie sowas wie ein Hexcode oder also nicht ein
Hexcode. Be
Hexcode.
applied to the persistent universe, so all heads are in the verse.
Okay, sehr geil, sehr geil. Dass sie quasi so einen Code einfach generieren, den ich dann auch im Verse wieder eingeben kann und dann wird immer wieder hergestellt, mein Gesicht,
using
so wie
the
ich vorher
outfits,
irgendwie
using
sowas.
the hair, using the skin, using the heads. And I did that all with the new character creator. And here to show you that, if the live demo of the character creator, I'm going to bring back my good friend Sean Tracy.
Bärte. Sie sind jetzt ja confirmed. Hat das ja alles mit dem neuen Character Creator gemacht.
All right, so what's this all mean to you guys? Let's show ya. Time for live demo.
Jetzt schon.
Right.
Sage, ja, mal gucken.
So, I want to welcome you to the Biotic Corp Calliope machine.
Okay, what the fuck? Was passiert hier?
All right, so here you can see we've got the, whoa.
Oh, unangenehmer Ton.
You can see we've got two body types that I can select from at any point in time. So we're going to start in right away. Now, you might recall how the character creator currently works. You would have a whole bunch of source heads from our DNA pool. We would select one of the facial shapes, and then we'd blend it up or down, depending on how much you wanted that certain facial shape. Now, this was pretty good, but it's not the most intuitive of systems. So instead, what we wanted to come up with was a much more intuitive way to control this. And what we've now introduced is sculpting mode.
Oh, das ist geil. Das ist sehr geil.
So, it's quite interesting to know what's going on behind the scenes, and this wasn't an easy problem to solve, but our animation programmers and tech artists and everybody came together, and they figured out a way to basically make it so that from the DNA pool, we are making a selection based on what you want out of it. So it's going
so wie ich das verstehe, blendet das immer noch
now,
zwischen den gescannten Sachen, also dürfte es nicht zu abstrakt werden.
So I want to wind up the nose.
Weil es nur realistische Features letztendlich
see
haben
that it's
kann.
all very intuitive, it's fast to use. I'm going to make the lips a little bit bigger here. There we go, something like that.
Ja, sie blenden nur
pretty good.
zwischen den Sachen, die es echt gibt. Man kann natürlich ein bisschen was Merkwürdiges machen, aber jetzt glaube ich nicht zu krass, oder?
Now we can adjust the eye shape.
Aber ich bin
we
gespannt.
can go more almond eyes. We can go more oval. We can have a heavy lid. You know, I can find a whole bunch of different options within here. So here we're starting to look pretty good. I want to give him a little bit more of a hero chin. And there we go. I'm liking that. Yes. That's cool. All right. So not to spend too much time on that, I want to show you some of the other features. And speaking of features, we go to our skin tone. So finally, you're not just selecting a preset skin tone. You can move through the whole gamut of the lookup table. And this is melanin and hemoglobin at the same time. So at the very top of it, I've got a texture slider. So instead of the whole head sort of selection, we can go between all the different textures now. Like Forrest mentioned, we're going to have 30 of these for one body type and 30 for the other body type. So here I'm kind of liking, what am I like? Oh, I like this one. So here, and I'm just going to set a skin tone that I kind of like. Something like that. That's cool. All right. So the next step in our skin tone is the complexion. And complexion, we've added freckles.
Also ich bin ganz ehrlich, ich bin manchmal faul bei Character Creating, aber das ist echt nutzbar hier, oder?
The amount of freckles. Now I've cranked it all the way to the top just so you guys can see it.
Das sieht sogar richtig spaßig
here,
aus.
I'm going to keep it kind of subtle.
Und so ein schönes UI. So übersichtlich.
Something like that.
Man kann die
We've
Sachen
also
lesen.
got sunspots. Now this is, a little more weathered skin. We'll give this sort of look. And we've got a whole bunch of different blemish masks planned for you guys, whether that's sunspots or liver spots or anything to that effect. Now, I'm going to give this guy kind of a weathered look because I think the skin tone looks pretty cool like that. Yeah, I'm digging that. All right, so next up, eyes. So no longer do we have the green and the brown, just the full selection. You've got a full RGB chart of what you want to select. So if you want to have bright green eyes,
das wird auch wieder viele Leute aufregen, aber ganz ehrlich, wenn jemand irgendwie knallgrüne Augen haben möchte, das gibt's auch in real.
Very nice. So again, we can go with deep browns.
Lila sehe ich da jetzt zum
sort of
Beispiel
a
nicht.
steely blue, which I'm kind of digging for this skin tone. I quite like that look. That's cool.
Ja, nice.
Oh, well, we'll get into some funky colors. Don't you worry. All right. So one of the other things we've added, and it was mentioned before, we've added a makeup layer. And with the makeup layer, we're totally inclusive. Any of the body types can have makeup. Now, I don't want to spend too long on it here because we're going to get into it in a couple minutes. But I just want to show you sort of blending that in, blending that out.
Ja, also wir überziehen wieder hart das erste Panel.
So next, as Andre talked about, we have all the hairstyles that you could want.
Ist auch geil, wie das rechts mitrotiert.
So I'm
Und es
just
lädt auch
gonna
nicht
pick
ewig
a
oder
couple
so.
different
Das
ones.
nervt mich
There's
immer,
a,
wenn man
a
irgendwie...
reality for some of us and another reality for another one of us. There it is. That's what I want my reality to be here. Something like this. I'm digging the mohawk though for this one. He's got a bit of a Mr. T look to him. I kind of like this. Yeah, I pity the fool. All right.
Yeah, Bertha! Bertha!
So it might go without saying that we've got beards now. So if you want to select a full beard, you can select a full beard. If you want just mutton chops, you got your mutton chops. You want your handlebar, you got your handlebar. All right. So we've got all the different beard types that you could want, and we're going to add as many as you guys really want. So I'm kind of digging the full beard for this guy.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I'm digging the full beard for this guy. Even further to that, we've got eyebrow selection, which is, I mean, you could go with no eyebrows. That's a very real. You could have bushy ones. You can have a little bit more, normal, kind of straightforward ones. But it was mentioned before during the hair and with Forrest's discussion that we've got the hair dye as well. So with the hair dye, you can affect all the hair at once, and right now I've got all selected, so I can go through the gamut of all the different hair melanin that you can set. So
Das
here
ist
I'm just
wirklich
going to
cool,
darken it up a little
dass
bit.
man quasi eine Grundfarbe
and if I
hat
wanted
und
to
dann
dye
aber
the
noch
facial hair,
einfärben kann.
I could just dye the facial hair all by itself, setting a dye color here.
Das ist
Something
extrem
like
cool.
that. But in the end, I'm really digging the jet black on this particular one. So I'm going to frost these tips a little bit. I think that's going to look kind of cool. Let's set a bit of a blonde here, turn up the dye amount. And then what's really cool about this, and I'll show this in a minute, is that we can actually control the fall off of it. So again, if I just want this on the tips,
Alter, das ist halt wirklich... Eieiei. Das ist ja Hammer.
So there we go.
Das sind alles Optionen, die werde ich
He looks a lot
überhaupt
different
nicht
than how
nutzen,
that
aber
started,
das
and I
ist so
think that's
cool, dass
actually
die da
pretty
sind,
fun.
weil
Now,
so
there's a
viele
lot
Leute
of
es
stuff
lieben
in here,
werden.
and I can't wait for you guys to explore it and spend as much
Ich
time
werde es auch
as you
ausprobieren und
want
so. Bestimmt
customizing
laufe
and
ich auch mal
expressing
wie
yourself
so
as a
rum oder
character.
so.
So once you're done, you've got to sign off a personal declaration that the physical appearances that the calliope process has allegedly caused are okay with you. So let's go to our next body type. All right.
Ja, ist echt so. Man
So,
kann da
I'm gonna
bestimmt
go to
sich
town
selbst vorne
here
dann
real
schön
fast.
alles ausprobieren.
Right away. And you might think it looks a little off or so, but I don't know. We're gonna get there. Let's make some changes here. Gonna adjust the bridge of the nose, maybe a little bit of the cheekbones here. That's maybe a little extreme. Let's go back here. Something like that. And I'll make the lips a little bit smaller here. And I'm gonna lengthen that chin for a little more of a triangle kind of face here. So you can see, you can tweak to your heart's content. You can spend a lot of time doing
liebt's
this.
auch.
And I don't really like the brows. I like a little bit softer of a brow for this particular character. And that's looking pretty good to me, actually. So next, just like we did before, we go into features.
Aber das ist echt mal ein Character Creator, oder? Man bekommt direkt richtig Bock, also ich zumindest, richtig Bock damit rumzuspielen. Ich bin sonst echt faul, was das angeht, wie gesagt. Aber wenn die davon jetzt eine Demo raushauen würden, ich würde da eine Stunde drin verbringen, safe.
So we start with the freckles. And I kind of like a real freckled appearance on this particular character. And I'm going to turn down the sunspots. So we move forward to the eye color again. Ooh, I'm really digging the green.
Es könnte passieren im Parkour.
Yeah.
Aber ich mach's
look.
vermutlich offline.
And we get to the makeup. Now this is where I wanted to spend more time. Now, I'm arguably not
vermutlich,
very
wenn
good
dann
at
Squadron
this,
42 rauskommt und ich hier, dann mache ich schnell irgendeinen und will ins Spiel starten sofort.
How you can use it.
Aber mal
So
gucken.
first is the eyeliner. So the eyeliner, we can do any color. You can go as crazy or as chill as you want to go with this. But for this particular, I'm going to go quite dark here. Just in the
Deswegen
dark
fände ich
sort of
Codes geil, die man
fuchsias
teilen
and
kann und die
purples.
dann quasi das
Here,
generieren, so
we're
wie man
doing
es
the
eingestellt
inner
hat.
lid
Die
eyeshadow.
quasi die Einstellung
And that, I'm
speichern.
kind of keeping the same theme, I think. Yeah, and we're going to do the same thing with the broad eyeshadow. So again, we can go as crazy or as calm as you want.
Sagen wir es so. Der gute Sean Tracy ist vielleicht kein Make-up-Artist.
What I've had good success in doing is kind of having it cranked, and then I just pull it back to a little more of a natural blend, something to this effect here. Next is the lips. We can do the exact same stuff on the lips. Now what we have is a whole bunch of different makeup masks, and you've got 3 different channels within those masks, so basically 3 different colors that are affecting different areas of it. Now for the lips, we can go with the same sort of theme if we wanted. And I think I'm actually kind of digging that. And let's go on the lip liner, a little darker. And then lips are a lot more glossy, so we can increase the gloss there, so that looks a little more like a lip gloss. Yeah, that looks pretty cool there. And then, like I was doing before, I kind of just pull it back a little bit. And there we are. So next.
Ist nicht so meins, aber
I
okay.
think we're good, yeah.
Es zeigt die Option, die man hat.
I have no business doing that, that's for sure. Same thing on the hair. Again, we've got a whole bunch of different hairstyles. These will all be shared between the 2 body types, but for this particular demo, we've got the ponytail, we've got the slick back kind of look. Yeah, I'm not finding one I'm really digging yet. Ah, yes, now we're talking. All right. So cool. Now, again, we're fully inclusive here, guys. So
nice.
If you want facial hair on any body type, you got facial hair on any body type. That is up to you guys.
Das ist jetzt aber eine andere Bart-Selection. Das sind jetzt andere Bärte. Kriegen wir die auch für die anderen? Ich hoffe es.
So on the eyebrows,
Mach ihr doch einen kleinen Ziegenbart. Das sieht geil aus. Kleiner rosa Ziegenbart oder so.
But for the hair, I really like dyeing this hair a certain color, sort of, something in the darker range. I'm going to turn that down. I like the nice jet black. Look at the makeup bounce out. That looks cool. I'm going to turn up the dye, though, and I'm going to try to carry my same theme forward here. There we go. And then I'm going to give it a bit of a fall off as we can do. So it's just on the tips there.
Das ist halt geil
So
jetzt
let's
schon.
see that in
Okay,
action.
ist okay, sieht cool aus. Guck mal, hat er schon doch auf jeden Fall schick gemacht. Das ist auf jeden Fall ein Look, den kann man auf einer
So
Party
now, you know,
tragen und
at
auch so.
first, we weren't sure about that character, right? But in the end, I think she turned out, definitely. So you go to a review,
Ja.
sign off your declaration again, and head to game. So, you know, I'm really lucky to be able to sit in front of this. And again, it was a huge amount of work from tech art, engineering, designers, and specifically the squadron feature team that has done all this work. And one of the cool things to note is that we use this now internally as a tool. That's why it's me up here demoing this. This is our tool internally for creating all these heads, for creating all the NPCs in the verse. Because as Chris put it one time, he doesn't want his NPCs to look lame. He wants them to look cool. And this gives you cool looking characters. Thanks a lot, guys.
Ja, sieht auf jeden Fall richtig gut aus, Mr. D. Das ist gut gemacht.
It works. All right, we're behind on schedule, so let's
Ich wusste,
welcome
da
the
wird
Life in the
sofort
First
Fetisch
Person
draus.
crew. Take it away. I'll be here. I'm busy.
Okay, es geht direkt weiter mit Life in the First Person. Keine Pause. Gibt
Hello
keine Pause.
everyone!
Sind auch nur 10 Minuten zu spät jetzt.
You know, it's a... Am I too early?
Ändern mal die Titel.
No. It's a real pleasure to be here at CitizenCon in person. I've had so much fun. Thank you all. But my name is Jens. I'm here from Manchester. I'm going to talk to you about some improvements to play traversal. So we're going to start in 0G, where we've been rebuilding the EVA experience from ground up. So the first thing you should see is that we've made the exit from gravity less disorientating.
Das ist gut, aber das haben wir ja auch in der Art schon gesehen.
Oh, we're gonna face plant. We made it.
Oh, okay.
All right, so
okay.
we made the
Smooth.
re-entry much more forgiving. So this EVA has a new prone lateral pose, and this is really important to us because it allows us to get close to surfaces, and it allows us to walk across them. So we can see that in this video here.
Das nehme ich dir ins Ballon aus, ja.
Okay, and as we go
Das,
sit down,
so
we're gonna
laufe ich
jump
gerne
off.
durchs
Okay, here we
Kinderbecken im
go.
Schwimmbad. So.
Into that,
Das
and
macht
this
voll
smaller
Spaß, so in
profile
niedrigen Becken.
lets us get into spaces we couldn't get into before, or not easily with the old EVA. We're going to traverse through here, thread the needle, and
beim
also
Meer
the collision is much more forgiving.
total
We're
lustig.
slide off at slower speeds, so we're not going to be spinning away. Okay, big reveal. Love this station. This is amazing. And we're also adding grips, so in interiors, you might be able to hold on to grips to do interactions and walk between the grips to get better control. Now, thank you very
Ja,
much.
sieht nice aus. Das haben wir ja schon mal mit dieser einen Station aus Squadron for Tour
So
jetzt
now
gesehen, so eine
prone
Demo.
has long been a problem motion set for us, right?
Und haben
But
es war auch mal auf der
by taking
Roadmap.
these EVA
Haben wir
posing
die bekommen.
solutions we saw, we can now rotate around the camera without any lateral translation, so we're not rotating around the hips anymore. And it allows you to aim much better.
Das ist sehr
We're
angenehm.
also not moving the
Sehr, sehr
bodies.
angenehm.
We don't need to worry about the external collisions anymore. Right? We're not going to get pushed around.
Das ist sehr geil.
Of course, prone isn't all about looking around. We want to traverse as well. So we're going to head down this vent. And here we put in a new collision style. So this is all about letting you have control in narrow, small spaces, smaller than this. We're going to be able to push around the corners. We're going to go run tight bends. And we're going to be able to reliably go up and down slopes. And
Das
this
ist
where
cool, weil
prone
das
led the
geht
way.
halt
So
aktuell gar
we then
nicht.
took this and we put it into the EVA. So if I turn off gravity here, which I'm not going to do, but if I did, the EVA would have been able to traverse the exact same place. And by having these motion sets so similar, we can exchange success between them. And that could then be done to other horizontal sets, like prone light sets, for example, like the water world showed it yesterday. We might be able to take you swimming there one day. So Okay, we're gonna move from the horizontal to the vertical. So with ladders, we put in some new subtle and significant improvements. So we got midpoint markups. That lets you enter the ladder anywhere.
Oh ja, bitte. Oh, geil.
We're gonna let you look around so you can do 360s. We're gonna let you lean on the ladders so that you can avoid obstacles or peek around corners. And this all got a full new animation set. It looks amazing, especially with all this beautiful star cloth.
Richtig krass.
You know, you got both the hood and the cape there. It looks amazing. Okay, so with combat, we wanted to add more speed to the encounters. So what we've done is we've removed the weapon penalty, so you can move at the same speed with and without the weapon out.
Das ist sehr geil.
We've reduced the inertia, so you're going to be able to push up to your desired speed faster.
Auch gut.
And this is already in 320 and 321, and we got more things like this to come.
Okay, aber nur das mit den Speeds ist jetzt schon drin. Okay.
Right, so I didn't just want to talk about improvements. I've hinted at swimming, but I'm going to show you a different feature, right? So, sliding. So, with the power slide, you inject a burst of speed.
Mögen ja auch manche gar nicht. Finden manche so richtig kacke und unrealistisch, aber es macht halt einfach Spaß, Leute.
Just take you from A to B faster. You're going to have a reduced profile. You become a smaller target.
Das ist halt einfach cool.
It doesn't come for free. You know, you're sprinting, so that's going to cost you stamina. You're sliding, that's going to add some stamina cost. And when I do it back to back like this,
Eben, ich bewege mich auch ständig
pumping,
so.
Pumping, right? So you got to be a bit careful. You can't just slide your whole way from the hubs to the spaceport. Okay, so another thing that is really important to us is that with the slide, it's a short duration, but we want interactivity as soon as possible. And that's true for all our motion sets. We're going to go through all of them and give you interactivity. So with the slide, we want you to be able to aim around as soon as possible. The moment you hit the ground, you're going to be able to aim around, all right? And the direction is locked, so if I was to slide from one end of the stage to the other, I would be sliding this way, but I'd be looking this way, right? Look at you guys, hey. But while I'm sliding, I can hip fire. And as I come out in the exit, I can ADS, I can lean. I could go back to sprint.
Ja, wenn man sprintet, dann geht das schon. Aber muss man macht das nur unter Anleitung von einem Profi.
Okay, so moving
Don't try it at home.
Traversal, just to finish this section, I want to talk about new hazards.
Ja, stimmt, das könnte auch für leichte Rüstung ein Bonus sein.
Demo.
Dass es da besser geht. Oder überhaupt.
I lost my thought. Bone, can you press the button? That's it. Okay, radiation, right. So radiation, for that, it's a new addition to this active status system. And we need to look at the bottom left here. So in the middle, you got the amount of radiation that being pushed on your body. If you have a directional source, it's based on your body surface.
Ich finde den Effekt cool.
Source. So by going behind the cover here, I can completely cut off all the radiation. So I can use that. And then on the left, we have an icon that has a shield around it. Now, that shield works in two ways. Right? First of all, it comes from your outfit. So depending on what you're wearing, you're going to have a better or less accurate shield, right? It has a threshold. As long as your radiation doesn't exceed the threshold, the shield will hold true. It'll scrub all the radiation off, and you can stay there as long as you like. But as the shield starts peeling off, when the radiation gets higher, the shield will peel off. And you know the radiation sickness kicks in right at the end of the video here. And my health just deteriorates super, super quick. So yeah, that's not great. Okay, so we're gonna see some more radiation in the next section. So I would like to welcome Inesh up on the stage. Thank you very much, everyone.
Da sind sie jetzt ganz schön durchgerusht, aber das war eigentlich ein voll geiles Segment. Also es war ja noch nicht das ganze Segment, aber.
Why are we showing that?
Coole Pullover, Hoodie-Dings da.
Hello everyone, my name is Ines and I'm a gameplay programmer here at CIG. And I'm here today to tell you all about, thank you.
Gameplay!
And I'm here today to tell you all about the features we've been working on to improve the player interaction experience with the physical objects in the world. So let me start by telling you what we've made to make it easy for you to identify and interact with these objects in the world.
Da sehen wir das neue
Zeus-Plushie. Interaction prompts, which are AR cards that appear over the objects as the player gets near them. These, combining with scanning, will help the player to easily identify the interactable objects in the scene. So we have improved the
Auch das haben wir ja
algorithm
schon mal
that
gesehen
our
letztes Jahr,
interaction
glaube ich.
system uses to determine the current item in focus. So you'll
Ja, es
have
sieht
a
ein bisschen aus
smarter
wie ein
detection
Mocap-Anzug,
and
stimmt, ja.
selection as you move around and look around the
Kapuzenjacke.
scene. So the prompts will show you the active interaction and the key bind that you can use to quickly trigger it, like you see on the pictures. So we are trying to minimize the friction of the player to interacting with these objects. You no longer have to go into interaction mode to bring up the cursor, then drag it over, and to select using the inner thoughts. So we're removing that.
Ja, nice. Sehr gut.
So what happens if an object has more than one interaction? Well, for that, you can just simply hold F, and this will bring you the new interaction wheel. So this is our new interaction wheel. It will be focusing on the item. And you can see that up to 2 of the interactions have a star icon. So this is related to another system that you are bringing to you that we call in the default item actions. So this allows us to have a primary interaction, that's the one that shows on the prompt, and a secondary interaction.
Und das kann man
So
selbst
these are
setzen.
default actions that you can easily trigger using shortcuts. So these actions will change based on the combination of the item, the player, and the environment state. And although designers do choose the default actions that we bring to you, you are fully able to customize them to fit your preferences and playing style. So let's take a look at this in action.
Okay, jetzt bin ich gespannt. Ich mag jetzt so große Radialmenüs gar nicht.
Here you can see the prompts that change depending on your focus. So let's bring up the wheel. And you know, I really like my plushes, so I want to inspect them when I find them around. So I'm changing that to my primary. And you'll see that does not affect only the item they're interacting with, but any item that falls into the same category. Go next. Okay. So I've shown you some features that
Okay, ja,
improve.
ist cool.
Thank you.
Ist auf jeden Fall besser als
So
das,
I've
was
shown
wir
you
aktuell
features
haben.
that
Wesentlich
improve the
besser.
readability and easiness of interacting with the objects in the world. But the other part of our focus was to bridge the disconnection
Ist nur ein
between
bisschen
the
viel
player
visuell
and the object you are
irgendwie.
interacting with. In the fully physicalized world that we want to provide you, a tactile experience is very important to sell the experience. So we've introduced a new system that allows us to play animations on the player of actually reaching out and physically touch the objects in the world. Yeah.
Okay, ja.
So our main goal was to give you a better immersion, but at the same time minimizing the friction and the control we take away from you. So this really was an exercise between code, design, and animation to give you the best experience possible. Let's see some of this in action.
Oh, und
And you know,
direkt
pressing
bei so
buttons
einem
has never
Touchscreen.
been so satisfying and fun.
Mit der ganzen Hand einfach. Ich hoffe, das ändern sie vielleicht doch in...
And you know, I just kind of like go.
Aber sieht gut aus, wow. Bitte nicht immer alles mit der... Aha! einfach unboxen.
And
Der Soundeffekt, den hätte ich gern dazu.
Okay, so let's continue with this theme of
Ich hoffe, da kann man
tactile
vielleicht so
experiences.
einstellen,
The
bitte
next thing
nicht
I
mit
want
der
to
Faust
talk
immer
to
auf
you
alles
about are
draufhauen,
usable
sondern
interactables. So
oder
usables are
Typ oder
objects that have
Typ
existed
oder
in our
Typ.
game for a very long time. And you know, designers have had a variety of
Aber
tools to
letztendlich
build
egal.
these really interesting and complex sequences for the AI. But up until now, what we could do for the player was very limited. So this past year, we've been building up our tools that provided for designers, that designers could build these really interactive experiences, but for the player. And the advantage of using the usable system is that anything that the player will be able to do, the AI will also be able to do. So let's have a look at a simple demo that one of our designers put together to see what we can now achieve. So in this scenario, the player has to go forward but can't go forward because of the toxic water. So he has to go over to the valve to turn off the water. So before we could maybe play a simple animation when you interacted, but now designers can give full manual control to you. So you, by pressing the specific inputs, you will be driving the system. But this is not enough. We needed to be able to give designers a way to translate what the player is currently doing and affect other objects in the world in specific ways. So this is what is happening here. As the player is turning the valve, is controlling the flow of the water that's coming from the pipes.
Ich mag, dass es so
What
snappy
happen
ist.
when the player is no longer in control? Do we want to keep the state, revert back to the initial one, or maybe trigger something else altogether? Well, it's up to designers to define the type of experience they want to bring to you. So let's finally turn off that valve. Rush over before that broken valve starts turning off, and then see another small example. Oh, let's go. So yeah, you'll see another small example where you won't be able to open the door by a press of a button, but you have to manually interact with that pump and manually open it. So you'll have to time your inputs to slowly open the door. So this is just a small taste of the level of interactivity that we can now have with these objects. We had really nice results for Squadron, for the mess hall line, and I can't wait to see what the PU designers will create and bring up to your hands.
Sowas liebe ich immer.
Thanks.
Das erste, was ich habe mal ein VR-Space Game gemacht, das erste, was ich eingebaut habe, war manuelle Überschreibung für Türen. Mit dem Hebel so.
Good view of this one. So we made a
Einfach weil es
small
cool ist. Es hat einfach
changes to make
Spaß
it
gemacht.
easier for you. We've
Ausschalten,
created
dass
a
die
new
sich
focus
manuell
mode
öffnen und
that
dann
will walk
automatisch
the
öffnen und
player
dann
to perfectly align with the kiosks. So we can better perfectly frame the screen on the viewport. At this point, the interactive screen will steal the input focus until you actively chooses to leave. So let's take a look at this in action. And look at that. When you trigger it, I'm like, yeah, so this is a very small quality of life improvement, but it will make it much easier for you to interact with its kiosks.
Ich habe jetzt noch nicht ganz gerafft, was daran jetzt besser war. Können wir das nochmal sehen?
So finally, let's talk about looting. This is our new looting screen. It's not replacing the inventory, but it will be used when you're looting a body or any other lootable that you find in the world. It was specifically designed to improve this experience. So since looting is a common action during FPS combat, especially if you haven't fully prepared ahead, we wanted to make it as easier and quick as possible, so you could spend the minimum amount of time to grab any items you need from your target. So it displays the current loadout and a simplified version of the inventory. Looting favors speediness, while the inventory is there, so you can fully manage your loadout.
Das sieht so viel besser aus als das Inventar.
And this is especially on the UI and art, but I want to give you a little sneak peek how this all works.
Ja, die ist bestimmt aufgeregt, aber macht's gut dafür. Alles gut.
Okay, let's go over to.
Wer wäre da nicht aufgeregt?
So you see, the player loader is on items are on the bottom, the target is on the top.
Das ist viel geiler zum Ausrüsten.
Different widgets, you'll see a tooltip that with the different quick actions you can do. You can just simple press. Yeah, it'll be so much easier. So yeah, you can quickly press to just equip or swap. You can even use your mouse wheel if you want to change the target. You can drop anything, store anything, just really quick actions. And you'll see in a minute that we also can trigger ammo repooling. So this will grab all available ammo, either from your target or from your inventory, and will fill up the magazines in your loadout and get rid of any empty magazines. So yeah. Looking really
das
good.
Ist richtig geil. Ja, bitte.
Yeah, so it's looking really good, and I can't wait to see the final art. So that's all from me. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a great time.
Das ist. Könnt ihr bitte nochmal auch das Inventar genauso überarbeiten?
Hello,
das sieht so viel mehr usable aus.
Remember, my name is Jens, and I'm now going to talk to you about some changes we made to our stealth gameplay. And I'm gonna give you an update on weaponware.
Das habe ich nicht, da habe ich nicht drauf geachtet.
Takedowns is an important part of our stealth encounters. So this is where we're gonna add some player skill progression. So we're gonna move you through different action sets. You're gonna start out by struggling. You might fail. Of course, this sort of added time and the extra noise you're making is really gonna increase the risk of detection. You're gonna get faster the more you do it, and then you're gonna reach maximum efficiency.
Das
Check this one
Skillsystem
out.
jetzt
So he's
quasi.
so fast you can barely see him do it, and then he guides the body to the floor, so it makes almost no noise, right? We're gonna explore some more variation beyond our
Geil.
unarmed and our knife takedowns, like sedative injection pens and contextual takedowns. So this guy on the railing here, let's see what we can do about him.
Ist ja nun ein Keks.
So by using the environment, we can do a more efficient takedown than maybe our skill level would have allowed. And it certainly looks a lot cooler. And we're going to be able to use this to get to enemies that might be otherwise difficult to get to with our normal takedowns, like a pilot strapped into his pilot seat, you know, sneak up on him and take him out. Okay, so in that last video, we incapacitated that enemy a lot. I'm going to introduce you to a new weapon, a new item, sorry, and that's the restraints. So with the restraints, okay, let's take him down first. One more. Oh. Okay, so with the restraints, we're going to turn him over. We're going to cuff his hands. We're going to cuff his legs.
Alter, nice.
Now, if he wakes up, he can't chase us down, right? But he could call out for help. So what we're going to do as well is we're going to add places in the environment where you can stash a body. You can hide them, either unconscious or dead. And that way it should be easier to remain undetected and keep you in that stealth bubble. Now, this is another thing we talked about in the UI demo, which is the ping.
Bounty hunting,
and we saw it in Ash's presentation.
Oder ist im Gameplay,
He did a short ping to highlight a door pump. Now, of course, we allow you now to
Ey,
charge
Fries, was
up that
planst du
ping.
da?
And by doing so, we can see further, and we can see through obstacles, and we can populate more information into our data bank that then shows up in our box outs here. So you get the name.
Aber
and
habt
you
ihr
maybe
nicht auch
get the
das
race
Gefühl,
and
das sieht
maybe
jetzt
the
alles
structure?
endlich mal aus wie ein
And you
richtiges
can use this
Spiel?
information to figure out where's
Es
the
sieht
weak link.
endlich mal aus
Which
wie ein
enemies can I
richtiges
take
Spiel.
down without being discovered?
Mit Gameplay.
There's a risk here, okay? So there's a charge up time. Means you can't do it all the time. It's going to recharge slowly. You see the bar at the top slowly going
Was irgendwie
down.
Sinn ergibt und
Until that
kohärent
goes
ist.
all the way down, I can't ping. I can't even do a short ping. And it's going to spike my emissions or my signature. So an enemy with the right equipment.
Mir
or
geht's
tech
gar nicht
level
um
might
Star
discover me.
Citizen, mir geht's um Squadron 42.
Okay, so
Tatsächlich. Ich
let's
weiß, das
move
kriegen wir
on
alles
to
ewig noch
some
nicht
talk
und so
about,
weiter. Aber Squadron
weapon
42 in einem Singleplayer,
So here we're going to see
da
a
kriegen sie es ja
simulation of a
hoffentlich schon
weapon
hin
getting
so.
more and more worn over time. We're going to expand this beyond weapons to
Aber natürlich,
other
irgendwann
FPS
kriegen wir es auch
items
ins
like your
PU.
armor, your
Aber
clothing, your helmets.
da rechne ich nicht damit, dass es
In
allzu
actual
schnell
game,
kommt.
this would be triggered by weapon usage, right? So the more you fire your gun, the more worn it's going to get. And this is going to affect its efficiency,
Aber selbst
it's
von
going
den
to
Demos
affect
her,
its reliability, and it's going to reduce its resale value.
sieht das schon mehr aus wie ein richtiges Spiel als viele vorherige
Each
CitizenCons.
item is going to wear it at its own rate and persist at its own rate. So you could have a worn rifle with a pristine scope or a pristine rifle with a worn scope.
Ich habe einfach vorher sehr oft so einfach nicht gesehen, wie das Pferd. Ich habe immer so, was ist das, warum ist das jetzt so und so. Und hier denke ich so, okay, es muss mir nicht alles gefallen, ich muss nicht alles so 100% geil finden, aber es steckt ein Konzept dahinter und es sieht fertig aus. Oder als ob da wirklich die nötigen Gedanken reingeflossen sind.
Gemini pistol in the little window and a worn one in the big window. And you can see the visual effects. It's belching out smoke here because it's very worn, right? It's telling you, you know, it's time to get this one changed. And you should be able to hear the audio as well. It's get growlier.
Ja, das kenne ich so auch noch nicht, dass eine Pistole so schnell fallen kann.
Okay, on to some consequences. So, it's not all visual, so we're going to start with misfire. So the first thing that's going to happen is you press the trigger, your gun doesn't fire. The second thing that happens in this video, you got... I hope you guys know what's happening. So he goes, and then it goes click. That's the bullet getting lodged in the chamber, right? So we've got to fix it. So it's telling us to fix it. We're hitting the button, Our enemy's firing on us. So you got some options. You don't have to fix it. You could holster your gun. You could pull out a new gun. You could use that new looting interface that Ines showed to grab a better gun. Okay.
Nice. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to finish this section with the features that's tangentially related to wear, and that's the dirt accumulation. So here again, we're going to see a simulation of dirt accumulating over time on the same rifles we saw before. But in the actual game, this would be based on your activities and the environment you're in. So if you're running around in a sandstorm, you're rolling in mud, you leave your gun outside proper storage, it's going to accumulate dirt. And that's going to increase the rate at which it wears. So the dirtier your gun is, the faster it will wear out. And this is true for other biome accumulations, like frost. So let's take a look at this one as well. Oh, or not. Okay, so yeah, so in the future it's going to be really important that you keep your guns clean and repaired. I'm now going to welcome Zach on stage, and he's going to talk to you more about the FPS weapons. Thank you very much.
Geil. Nice. Schönes Segment auch insgesamt. Danach kommt übrigens Taking Flight.
I'm Zach Priest. I'm a senior FPS game designer. I'm here to share some of the new interesting FPS things we have to bring you. So if you play modern shooters, you'll have noticed the quality bar has gone through the roof in recent years. Things from visual recoil to VFX, just overall general weapon feel. As you know, we recently did a pass on our weapons to get them a bit more up to speed, but we couldn't hit that quality bar that we really wanted to. Because guns are violent in nature, we couldn't portray that as much as we wanted to.
Ist cool, das war jetzt hoffentlich mal eine richtig funktionierende Demo.
And it allows us to show the violent nature of weapons while creating greater weapon-to-weapon variety. So this new tool also integrates better with other systems. For example, you just saw like wear and dirt and things like that. And I'm extremely proud to show you the new weapon recoil. So this is the old P4. It kind of falls a bit flat. You're not really getting that like oomph that you want, but you've probably shot this a million times.
Yeah.
Now the new P4, it has these nice little bop downs, and you feel it getting close to the camera, and the overall aggression of the weapon is a lot more there. It feels a lot more visceral when you fire it. This new tool gives us granular control over the movements of the weapon. So essentially what we have in one of our tools now is almost an animation tool where we can control the rotation and the location of things. So this is the old PA SMG. This is a new one.
Was mit dem Sound?
And in general, it's bringing the house down now. So recoils are just, in general, easier to tweak now. And they're a lot more impactful, and we can create weapon variety in just far new, more and interesting ways. Cool.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Okay. Thank you very much. Cheers. We also have new procedural animation over our ADS. So previously, if you play right now, you basically have a linear pose-to-pose transition. And sure, it's there, but now we layered some of this procedural stuff on top. So for example, if you have an SMG, it can come up a lot quicker, it can flick up, you feel really cool. LMGs can be a lot more heavy. So before, it basically just do, move from pose to pose, but now we can keep it longer down here, bring it up slowly, and overall it just feels like you've got an LMG, or it feels like you've got an SMG. We're just using things like, ease in and ease outs, and just give more life to the overall weapon. Oh, there we go. And we also have new iron sights. So sci-fi weapons are chonky. They're full of detail. They look really cool, but a lot of that
das sieht gar nicht so cool aus. Ich hätte
lieber so you've seen, this is a change to the Kana, where we have raised the weapon sight and given what we call the target acquisition window more room to breathe. So if you're aiming at somebody, you can just generally see a lot more. So optics aren't a crutch anymore. So you can see this on the Ravager, and you can see this on the Custodian.
Ja, man sieht endlich mehr. Das ist sehr gut. Sehr, sehr gut.
Now, weapon functionality changes. So as you imagine with the new recoil tool, we're going to do a pass on all the existing weapons. They're going to look and feel great. But while we were looking at our weapons, we also realized that some things don't necessarily, align with their manufacturer, right?
Nein.
You look at something like Gemini pistol. Now, Gemini overall, it's rule of cool. Like, that's what Gemini is supposed to be. So the LH86 pistol should be fully automatic, realistically.
Schade,
so
ich mochte die
LH86
immer sehr. Es ist also wirklich die LH86,
and as you can see, it goes
aber sie
ballistic
ist
when you
jetzt full
fire
automatic.
it. The magazine count has also increased to allow for that
Schade,
just
die mochte ich
crazy
sehr, sehr
feeling the
gerne.
pistol gets.
Aber ich bin gar kein Fan von automatischen Pistolen, leider.
Cool. Cool. Thank you very much.
Vollautomatisch.
Right, and moving on to our new vault weapons. So,
Dinge ändern sich.
Oh, it's the other video.
Arclight ist mein Liebling und ich finde es schade, wenn jetzt Arclight im Burst ist, aber auch da werde ich
These are the vault weapons. So, vault is primarily based around controlling a heat of a weapon. These weapons have the potential to overheat. And if they overheat, you'll be unable to fire. And they will enact differently. So some weapons will just basically be beams from the get-go. Some will go into beams. Like you see, this one goes into a beam once it reaches a certain level of heat. And it's really fun because, you know, these are quite powerful weapons, and you basically want to manage the heat and, you know, keep it in that, like, ideal spot. Okay, cool.
Das ist halt
and
richtig
scope
cool.
improvements. Now, this was shown yesterday, but I want to dig in a little bit more with this one. So.
Alles klar, Paco. Bis dann. Viel Spaß.
So, to get our, if anyone plays a modern FPS, they know the optics are just gorgeous now. In all modern shooters, they look fantastic. And as you can see, we have zoomed in optics in the center. So we have, and then we have other things like parallax, like you see in real life.
Deswegen, ich finde schon meinen Ersatz.
And, so
Auch für
in
die
general,
Arclight
all our sights and
gegebenenfalls.
scopes have been overhauled to be more realistic with things like parallax, pin cushion distortion, and things you'd expect from
das sieht
having
so
a
viel
scope
geiler
in
aus.
general. And it differs manufacturer to manufacturer, right? So some things are purely digital, some things are purely physical. So if you get hit by an EMP grenade, for example, we're using something like a television sight, like something like Cluey might have, then your optic would turn off. Right. Thank you.
Ich mag den Look von der Arclight nur sehr gerne.
And weapons are ultimately as only good as they sound. I'll be quiet for this next bit. But as you know, we've done a lot of work on our audio propagation systems and just in general how guns sound. We've also switched out some noises and made them feel a lot more beefy.
Hat da gerade die ganze Kamera noch mitgezoomt? Ja, war das so? Muss ich mir nochmal angucken. Nice. Ich fand die alte viel geiler. Ich fand die alte Lumen hat sich cooler angehört, aber ich fand immer schon, dass die sich cooler anhört. Die P6 LR, die hört sich so geil an. Die hört sich wesentlich besser an.
Fantastic.
Nein!
I think
die
all of
P
California heard us there.
Ey! Wollte die
So,
P4A nochmal
backpack
hören.
In real-life combat scenarios, you often grab magazines from other surplus areas. I want to simulate that in our game. So, to show you this, we have something called backpack reloading. If you run out of ammo in Star Citizen, you have to open a menu, put things on. It's a little bit clunky, it's a little bit awkward. So, if you have magazines in your backpack, you will now be able to grab them at the price of a longer reload animation.
Oh, das ist sehr cool und es gibt sogar ein richtiges UI-Overlay
when you have a
dafür.
backpack reload coming up because it will be displayed on the inventory with the backpack symbol. So there's no surprises, no catching off. You have all the information you need.
Sehr cool.
And this has been shown, and it has been teased a little bit, but the dynamic crosshair.
Das ist
now,
so ein praktisches
no more
Feature.
third-party dynamic crosshair, well, crosshairs now. So, if you have a look at this, this is our new crosshair. It's a crosshair that fits the aesthetic of Star Citizen. It's a crosshair that follows the barrel of the weapon, so you'll see exactly where a bullet is going to land. And it's projected from the visor using AR. Some visors won't have access to this crosshair, but some will use modified combat lenses. So if you don't want to use the crosshair, you can just use a different visor. As you can see, it works with recoil, and overall it just
Okay, krass. Das heißt, wir haben jetzt Crosshair richtig drin. Und das ist cool. Mir gefällt nur nach wie vor nicht, dass man diese komische Winkelansicht links und rechts vom Screen hat. Weil meistens guckt man so leicht nach unten und dann hat man die ganze Zeit negative Zahlen links und rechts von sich. Das finde ich irgendwie psychologisch ganz schlecht.
Some people have been playing it in the venue and here, and I've been harassing them, whoever's doing the hangar mission, to get their feedback, and it has been overwhelmingly positive. We also have new NPC archetypes, what we're temporarily calling the Juggernaut, which is basically a very high damage resistant enemy that has an LMG or a shotgun. As soon as they see you, they fire, they walk up to you. And overall, it's been playing amazingly, and I'm really happy for you guys, well, I'm really excited for you guys to get your hands on it at one point. PvP, we want to increase the time to kill. This allows for more varied weapon balancing. You know, we can lay into like sort of different aspects of the element more. It leads to higher skill ceiling and less unfair deaths. It will no longer be a game of whoever shoots whoever first. Speaking of which, force reactions. We're reworking them. We're aware it's frustrating, and we are going to rework the system to work beautifully. And we're also working on some other highly requested PvP changes. I'm very happy to say a lot of this work has been dialed in. Squadron 42 is in a very good state, and we're bringing this to you soon. Now, over to the AI director, Fran, to share some exciting updates on combat AI.
Hi, everybody. So, I'm Francesco Roccucci, as you said, and I'm the AI director in CIG. It's a great pleasure to be here with all of you guys. It's fantastic. So what we're going to do today is to explore how all the work we've done for Squadron 42 is going to flow into the Star Citizen experience. So we wanted to make the AI presentation about how you guys are going to experience the tech and the features we have been working on. So from the player perspective, you've seen how many new opportunities you have. And now it's interesting to see how the NPC are going to react to that. So the goal of Star Citizen is to build a breathing and living environment where your actions matters, and the NPC you will find in the universe needs to have the same opportunities and same limitations that you have. So when we play a game, we want you to spend the time that feels memorable, that feels special, right? Something you can remember and talk about. So we want you to give you a challenge to overcome, but also a challenge that is fun and doesn't feel repetitive and boring. So when we look at FPS encounter, we want to build variety. We want to give the designers, like Zach, the ability to craft combat scenarios, not just to put NPC in the level. And we need to make sure that he can tweak something such that he can experience the unique play style and the play space that you have. So Star Citizen can benefit from tons of unique environments. So for those environments, we want you to have different type of fun. So what we look at today is some of the tools that they have to achieve this goal and bring the AI to the next level. So the first tool we're going to look at today is the NPC trait system. So we spoke about this in the past, and we have now available for designers the initial set of traits they can use to influence their behaviors. So those are some of the ones that are available to the designers. Today we're going to focus on the combat traits, because we have traits that also apply to the peaceful situation and the social environment, but those are the ones that influence NPCs during a combat scenario. And traits, you can imagine them as characteristics NPCs have or don't have. So through the usage, we can make sure the combat feels different from one encounter to another. Traits in tech-wise, are just traits and tags that we can apply to character instance, character classes, but code can also apply them automatically based on specific rules. For example, if you see somebody with a rocket launcher, those will apply, an example, the sentry trait automatically, because those weapons are weapons that work well at range, so you want them to not push forwards to you. So they allow to block, or actually, they allow or they block specific section of the behaviors to run, but they also influence the likelihood of some logic to happen, or they modify the outcome of specific actions. So let's imagine we want to model a pirate faction, something that you can actually experience in the Pyro playground. So we want them to feel aggressive, but also not very trained. They are not very military. So how do we do it with the traits? We can start adding to this faction either the aggressive or reckless trait, those are traits that increase the risky behaviors. So for example, fighting more in open space or expose themselves longer when they are in cover. We can then assign to some of those pirates the ignore fire obstruction trait. As you've seen, for example, in Chris Reysn presentation during the CTG demo, like we have now destructible environment. So what the NPC will try to do is to keep shooting at the position the enemy has been hiding into. So you will see destroying environment, but you will also see them being less careful and managing their ammos. For others, we could use the undisciplined trigger finger trait. So this trait is, for example, meant to convey the inability to control their weapon when they are emotionally engaged in the fight. And what it will cause is them to trigger the weapon much longer compared, or you know, also just a bit longer compared to what the behavior is asking. So being bad at preserving their ammo means they will also run out of bullets much quicker. So this offers interesting opportunities for players because they can now shoot at them while they reload or while they scavenge the environment. So traits are building blocks we can use to define how character, faction, or encounter should feel. And designer can now create a wide variety of encounters for you guys
ist schon ein cooles System.
to enjoy the game.
Bräuchten mehr Spiele.
So, I want to paint a picture for you guys. So this is the bunker mission in Pyro, right? And we have a set of enemies that are defending the environment. So this is imagine an infiltrate and destroy mission. Those guys are there defending the bunker. You need to take it over. You need to basically kill them all. You are now fighting against enemies that they defend the environment. So before we go to the next slide, imagine the same environment, very similar enemies, but different traits, same behavior. So now you are defending an environment, and they are aggressive towards the environment. They want to take it. So what you will see here is that created a mix of enemies, some equipped with, for example, shotgun and aggressive traits. Now they will push towards you. They will force you to take actions and to react to them. They reload. Some will cover up. Obviously, this is with God mode on, so Zach was not dying. So this is possible to set up with a tick of a box. But this is not just enemies, because in Star Citizen, we want you to hire your own crew members. And those crew members, those characters, will have different personalities, different traits, different training level that they can build up. But when you look at their traits, we want you to see their strengths and their weaknesses so that you can pick the one that either match your playstyle or compensate your playstyle. So one good thing that we want to show you today is the medic. So there are some NPCs that can carry, obviously, med pants, but not everybody is able to use it well or wants to use it in a specific encounter. So we want to tweak this, and we have the medic trait. Here we combine a lot of the tech that we have spoken in the past, usable tech, behavior tech. And as Jens showed you, players now can just not only kill enemies, because before our NPCs would just die. But now you can take them down, you can restrain them. So the hyperception is to carry all this information about the different actor states. So he needs to know if he's down, but if he's still alive, or if it's just, somebody that you need to wake up. So a medic in the regular combat flow can, when it's safe to do so, and at the right time, attempt to heal his mate that can be helped.
Das ist cool.
So now you can imagine guard patrolling the environment, you take down a character, the guard finds this body on the ground. He doesn't know if he's alive or not. So he can go there, he can check it, check the pulse, see the state, and if he can be helped, he can basically execute the right healing process. If he needs a med pen, he will use the med pen. If he needs to shake him to wake him up, he will shake him up. And if he needs to unrestrain him, he will unrestrain him. And your crew members can also do the same with you. So if you are down in critical condition, they can come
aber wir
and
wollen.
help you out.
Redet viel von Crew
We'll
Members,
see now an
aber
example of this, where two factions are fighting.
kriegen wir die auch.
And you will see that at the right time, when the guy retreats, this guy can go there and heal his mate. And obviously, he
Ja,
needs
nimmt
to
die
pick
Waffe wieder
up
auf.
a new weapon because he just dropped it.
Aber cool, wenn das
So, as we
NPCs
mentioned
machen.
before, and as you've seen here, NPC can run out of bullets, but can also lose their weapons. So what we have to do right now is that, first of all, we want NPCs to have a concrete ammo pool to use. We don't want infinite ammos anymore. So,
Das ist
the
auch
ammo pool
eine
is
geile
actually
Änderung.
constructed by the ammos the NPC carry in their weapons, the one that they carry, the one that might have, and all the magazines they carry. They don't have any more bullets out of that. So NPC must properly use those items to fight. And the longer the engagement, the more likely it is they will run out of bullets and they will have to scavenge the environment. How do they do that? It's through the NPC, the usable system, as you've seen with Ines as well, Ines' presentation. You see that anything the player can interact with, the NPCs actually can, the same exact way. So the dead bodies can be looted, same as dropped weapons. Ammo crates will have physically inside some weapons, magazines. They can provide you with items. An NPC can understand where you can find ammos that are actually functioning with their own weapons. And they actually can decide. For example, if it's better to reach an ammo crate and gather some new ammos, or if that is too far or towards the enemy, they can decide to pick up another weapon. So you will see that.
Cool.
Also already in Pyro, you might see it. And once they decide to do so, obviously they don't have bullets, so they cannot fight you. What they can do, they can also switch to their sidearms. And the sidearms is less effective, obviously compared to the primary weapon, but it is still better than nothing for them to protect themselves while they go around and they loot the environment. So we'll see here an example where some NPC run out of bullets. Obviously in this video we give them a chance to go and loot as well. And this is a proper ammo crate that allows them to get back magazines. And another NPC arrives, and he will loot the dead body. This is the same dead body you might be able to loot, and you will not find ammos after that. But you will probably find it in the other one once you kill it. So, last but not least, another tool in the FPS arsenal is grenades. Grenades are a great tool. NPC can now fully react and use grenades in the environment.
Oh, dann mit Feuer
So
und so.
grenades are a great tool, especially when an NPC needs to counter a player that is camping or a player that is hiding or saying a location that the NPC cannot reach. So grenade force the movement and keep the action going. But they're also very dangerous. You've seen in Ali's presentation and my presentation that a grenade can make electronics explode, ignite a fire, and then the fire can propagate in the environment. So NPCs need to properly understand the environment and not jump into the fire and get damaged. So how do we do that?
Das
Is
ist
we
ja
have a
den Trade
new
dafür.
full system to handle hazards. Basically, hazard on the technical side can create a navigation volume modifier. And the navigation module modifier gets registered in navigation system, and our basically mesh can be modified, and it will carry semantic about if that is a danger, something better, and how much costly it is to go through. Because maybe you have a suit that allows you to go through the fire, so that is fine. You will not, the NPC can understand that. But if they can't, they will try to find positions that are safe for them to position themselves, but also paths that will avoid those dangerous areas. And now we'll see an example of that.
Das ist halt alles nur so.
This is a safe environment, still fighting,
Wir müssen es auch sehen dann irgendwann mal.
Safer.
Wirklich in-game. Wir haben schon so viel gesehen,
will
was
happen
NPCs können sollen, und in-game stehen sie einfach rum.
Fire ignites.
Nicht immer,
and
aber
propagates.
ja.
This is fully dynamic, so it's fully controlled
Das
by the
ist
fire
cool.
system. The fire system modifies volumes in the navigation system, and we really know where we can and not pass at any given moment. So this is a subset of the things that we worked on and we wanted to show you today. Thanks very much for listening, and now back to Jens.
Ja, cool. Wir müssen es halt nur in-game sehen. Deswegen, da bin ich jetzt nicht so hyped, weil ich glaube denen, dass das funktioniert bei denen intern.
Right, I want to thank Ines, I want to thank Zach, and I want to thank Francesca
Geiles
for
T-Shirt.
joining me on stage today. We want to extend a massive thank you to everyone who contributed to, supported us, and made it possible to show what we showed today. Now, with relentless optimism, we're looking forward to bringing you this all to the Star Citizen and more. Okay, we're going to leave you with a quick peek of a demo in Hangar 14 of Checkmate.
Genau, die läuft nämlich auf besseren Servern, die Demo.
Enjoy.
Ich meine, mir gibt das trotzdem Hoffnung für Squadron 42, aber natürlich jetzt erstmal für Star Citizen nicht. Da brennt's jetzt. Die Hitmarker sind sehr subtil. Also die AI ist hier gerade ganz schön herausfordernd, wie es aussieht. Warum hat er jetzt nicht geschossen? Ist in Cover geslidet. Ich meine, hier sieht man alle Systeme mal so, wie die ineinander greifen, und das sieht schon spaßig aus. Ja, wie viel es sagt. Sieht auf jeden Fall nach Fun aus. Ach nee, warum blendet das denn? Das fällt mir jetzt erst auf, wie langsam das UI einblendet. Das ist nervig. Das kann einfach erscheinen, bitte. Das muss doch nicht hier einzeln irgendwelche Sachen noch reinfliegen. Das ist so Classic Star Citizen. Erstmal nochmal 5 Animationen extra machen. Und dann merken, oh warte mal, das behindert das Gameplay. Ist das jetzt hier schon zu arcadig für dich im Paco? Ich finde, das ist ein guter Mix. Ich meine, Taktik-Shooter wird es ja dann, wenn man das mit einer Gruppe irgendwie von Spielern löst und ein paar mehr Gadgets hat.
Right. Thank you very much. I urge you all to come and join us in the Pyro Playground pit and have a go at Hangar 13 in Checkmate. It's a really great encounter. Thank you.
All right, so that was live from the first person. We're keeping this train running because we got a lunch to get to. Up next is Taking Flight with Yogi, Inez, and more. Let's get it started. Boop.
Ich nenne mal Titel, Taking Flight. So, und hier auch.
Hello everyone. Is my mic on? Okay. Can you hear me? Fine. These are the wrong slides. Hang on. Well, hello everyone. My name is Yogi Klatt. I'm a principal vehicle programmer at Cloud Imperium Games, and I focus on space flight and space combat. I really love my job, so this is why I'm really excited to show you the progress that we did on Squadron 42 in the last 2 years. So there's two things I need to say here. First thing is, we're doing a live demo, and the build is about 12 hours old, so there is a good chance. There is a good chance for bugs.
Man muss sich ab sofort waschen in Tieren.
Well, if you see them, just look away. It will be fine. The second thing is, I'm not flying myself today. It will be Brent Gunsinger.
Und eine Menge coole Quality of Life Improvements für Waffen.
He's using a setup of 2 VKB sticks, so left and right HOSA setup from VKB, and he's also using the fantastic Toby device. So we'll swap during the presentation between using head tracking and not using head tracking. Yes, so, but the good thing is, the relationship between you and your starship, it doesn't start when you take off, it starts way before that. There's a lot of stuff we do now in pre-flight. So please welcome back Ines Caldas, who will walk us through that process.
Nee, zu neuem hat uns Squadron 42 gab's nichts. Nur, dass es ein neues Loot-Hut gibt.
What you can expect about the player interaction experience inside your cockpit. If you,
Krass
like,
müsste die,
I've
aber
told you
wirkt auch
before
sehr
how we've
sympathisch.
been working towards improving the player interaction experience all across our game. And we wanted to bring these improvements to what happens inside the cockpit. So we wanted to give you a greater
Ja, heute gibt es noch ein paar große Ankündigungen, wohl, oder was auch immer, vielleicht auch nur eine.
Okay,
yeah,
sorry about that. Yeah, so you want to give you a greater immersion and give you a closer experience to what pilots go through in real life, not only when you're flying around your ship, but the moment you take your seat at the cockpit. So to achieve this, we've created when you enter your ship, you'll be put in what we call a new relax pose. So in this pose, you'll have free look enabled, so you can easily look around the cockpit and your dashboard.
Dass man nicht direkt so da
The
sitzt.
prompts will be showing over the buttons, so you can easily find the ones you have to interact. And you, the pilot, have to press all the different buttons to get your ship ready for flying, and the character hands will be lowered away from the control stick.
Und sie haben auch schon gezeigt, wie man quasi physisch dann auf Buttons und Bildschirme und sowas drückt.
Player animated interaction system, whereas any button is now physically pressed. So this new system uses what we call a CDIK approach. This stands for code-driven IK, or inverse kinematics, and gives full control of the IK setup to the code. So this, among other things, allows us to record the path of the hand relative to its target. So we can have more detailed animations than just simply blending the hand into position. So for example, we can open a flap and then press the button. But you know, enough of me talking, let's go jump into the demo and see all of this in action. So now.
Okay, cool.
So Brand very kindly will get us into the ship, while you'll see the new enter sequence.
Und das ist jetzt eine
Live-Demo. The new
Live-Demo.
animations we have been working on.
Ja, okay. Relax the Pose.
So you can see now that you won't directly grab the control stick. You'll be put on this relax pose with free look enabled. And you can see the different prompts appear over the buttons. So let's get this show started and get your ship ready for flying. So Brand, if you could close the canopy so we don't go flying around with that open. Power our systems. Oh, look at that.
Oh. Oh.
And finally, turn our entrance. Yeah, so you are now ready for flying. So we will be bringing all of this to all of our ships in our fleet. And that's all from me. So please join me in welcoming into the stage Tony to tell you all about the new UI.
Hi everyone, my name is Tony. I'm senior UI programmer here at CIG. And I'm here to explain some of the spoilers that you saw yesterday about our new ship UI. So, are you ready to see the ship UI in action? Right. Bone, play the demo.
Auch
Brand, continue with the demo.
Und ich gehe davon aus.
So, as you can see already, this ship has less intrusive UI, with more space to enjoy the stunning vistas that planets can offer, and less cluttered views so you can focus during combat. This also means that the UI elements are now more relevant to the situation, linked to the operator mode. For example, when we change to scan mode, the crosshair has scanning information about your target, and even the MFDs have changed. Some of these elements can be customized, but we'll see more about that later.
Geil.
For this demo, we're showing the UI developed for this Gladius. Basic information related to navigation will always be available on your view, and this Gladius displays all of that with holograms around the dashboard. But other ships may have different layouts and styles, on brand with the manufacturer. For example, the Drei, that makes more affordable ships, rather than fancy and probably expensive holograms, may use physical screens, dials, and light indicators. This dashboard shows your current speed, the remaining afterburn, and some decoys available. On both far sides, we have status indicators that will show things like if your landing gear is on or any other flight systems. Worth mentioning that we have prototyped these for the demo, so right now they're holograms, but on the final design, these are going to be physical screens. On the far left, on the top of the dashboard, we have the indicator of which master mode and operator mode are you on. So let's change that to combat and talk about these new MFDs. So we have reworked all of these MFDs from scratch with brand new views using our UI technology building blocks. We can still navigate through these MFDs using the classic mouse interaction, holding F and then moving the mouse. On the left here, we can see the scanning view, which is going to show information that you obtain when you scan a target. It may show information about the ship name, the pilot name, or even the current operator mode of your target, so you know if they're just chilling around or they are ready to fight you. Cycling to the left one, we have the target status, which will focus on emissions, damage, and orientation of your target. We'll see that in action later. The next one, continuing to the left, will be the self-status, which is contextual. So during navigation, that will show your current fuel, but during combat, like right now, will show information about your guns. You can click on the gun, and you can see basic information about that.
Cool.
You will see the name, and you can also see in which group they are assigned, which Yogi will explain later. On the MFD on the right side, we have the power management, where we can distribute the power of different systems of the ship. You can click on the triangle and move it around to change the distribution, and you can turn down the total power of the ship that will generate. The classic key bindings that you all know already works, so when you change the power management, you will see now a triangle on top of the radar to show you the changes. Now, instead of using mouse, you can also use key bindings to select MFDs and cycle through the views, which might be faster when you are in certain situations like during combat. And for those pro players out there, we have added about 100 key bindings, and I mean 100, to navigate through all of these systems. So you can fully customize how you want to navigate through them.
Starfarer im Hintergrund. Ja, das ist geil. Endlich wieder Keybinds, mit den MFDs was zu machen.
Keyboard, on your HOTAS, or even on your game class setup. But if you need more, just let us know.
Also gab's mal mit HUD, nicht mit MFDs, aber...
Anyway, I think you're not gonna need even those many shortcuts. For each operator mode, we now persistently save which views are shown on each MFD. So you can customize what's important to you for every situation.
Ja. Endlich. Es ist gut.
So as an example, during combat, you might want to have target information on your MFDs, but maybe when you change to quantum travel, have your current fuel, spend some time on the configuration screen, for example. Let's talk about this configuration screen. We're going to have now here a variety of options, from customizing UI elements to enable systems of the ship. We may see some of these later in action with Yogi. These settings are now available on this screen, not in the global settings of the game, for quick access. So just as a warning, expect changes on the settings that you already know, but we'll tell you all about it when we have it ready.
Oh, das ist
And
cool.
the important bit about this is that they will persist to your ship. So you can keep different setup of which UI elements and even ship systems enable for how you personally use each of your ships.
Das heißt, man kann wirklich die Schiffe customizen jetzt endlich von den Einstellungen her.
Now, some of you might be thinking that this Gladius doesn't have enough MFDs. Can we enable the top setting? For those of you that you want to see even more information, you can now cast versions of these MFDs to your helmet.
Das ist sehr nice. Das ist super praktisch, vor allem wenn man sich dann umguckt. Ja, jetzt noch API für Drittsoftware. Na, das wäre es natürlich
you're gonna need to equip the appropriate helmet, so it's connected to your ship and I can get all this information. You can use the key bindings, as I mentioned before, so you can select which cast do you want to control and how to cycle through them. So you can pin views that are important to you that will move with your camera. So as you have seen, if you're aiming at the target or if you're moving with your head tracker, those views are going to be always with you.
Elite Dangerous gerade so, verdammt, jetzt haben sie es auch.
With all these tools, you can customize your experience and have it ready for every situation that you encounter with your ship.
Also Elite Dangerous hat eine gute Menüführung, finde ich.
So for example, during combat, you may want to have all the UI elements enabled, all the pips, all the crosshairs, so the information of your ship on the physical MFDs, and maybe focus on the target information on your cast, so they're always on your view. But maybe when you go to quantum travel, you can turn those casts off so you can enjoy the vistas. That's all from me. Now we have MFDs ready, and let's bring Yogi back to tell you all about flying your ship. Thank you very much.
Okay, ich bin so hyped. Das ist wirklich... Zeigt mir das auch nochmal für ein paar andere Schiffe.
Our ship is fully powered up, ready to fly. Pre-flight is complete. So Brent, please take off, put the landing gear in and bring us out. Have you seen the interaction? This is great, isn't it? Okay, so one of the problems
dann ging das wohl gerade mit Keybind,
space
oder was?
games is to produce a sense of speed. Space is big, and the sense of speed is always produced by small things going around you. So although it's not very visible here, the VFX team has actually added space dust, so in the future you can tell where your ship is going, even without looking at instruments. Another thing we're focusing on as well is G-force reactions. So Brent, if you could come to a stop for a second. When your ship is sitting like that, and you strafe left and right, you have these small head motions that basically make your head and your body react to the G-forces they're currently enduring. We're actually increasing them now. We also added rotational G-forces into the mix, so if Brent is now rotating the ship to the left, you also can see that your head is swaying a little bit. Things get a little bit more interesting when Brent is actually taking boost into the mix. So we now boost forwards, we now added camera shake, we added FOV changes.
Oh Mann, ich hoffe, das kann man immer noch alles ausstellen, weil ich finde, das ist die MFDs und das HUD zu lesen immer schrecklich.
So overall, the ship should now feel a little bit more reactive than before. The same thing, sorry.
Alle applaudieren und ich dann einfach nur so alles ausschalten.
At the same time, we reduce the extensions that the look-ahead code is doing. So we basically narrowed it down a little bit so it mixes better with G-force reaction, so that even when you don't have a head tracker or something like that, it will still feel pretty good. But this is just a minor change. We also improved the flight controls themselves. So
aber na gut, man kann sich Sachen aufs HUD backen, vielleicht.
It's a little bit twitchy today. What that speed gauge is telling you, the number that's currently moving, is what kind of speed goal Brent is actually putting in. If he puts his stick all the way forward, the left one, you will now be able to see and read the number that you're asking IFCS to speed and forward momentum. This also allows us to bring back the sticky throttle we had pre 3.5, where now, if you play with mouse and keyboard, you can press W and S to increase and decrease your speed and let go of the key, and the ship will not automatically come to a stop. Of course, this is all completely configurable, so you can enable that or not if you want. Oh.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Okay, Brent, give me some hard flying now, like blackout and all that. Okay, so another thing we changed in the flight model is that we actually looked at the try-coding exploits. These are really important for PvP and racing players among you, because try-coding gives us a mathematical problem that we're trying to resolve. On some ships, when you try-code, you get actually up to 50% more acceleration. That huge difference actually makes a lot of the ship difference meaningless.
Mit Pyro?
So we're cutting back on those. So
Meinst du, sowas gibt's?
the first
Ja,
implementation
haben
of
die
that is
irgendwas
already
dazu
available
gesagt?
in the master mode testing areas in 3.21, I think. But we're improving the algorithm right now so that it actually is less punishing in future master mode builds. This is actually a current version, so as long as you go roughly forward, you get the full Gs.
Oh, okay, gucke ich mir dann gleich mal an.
From your back engines.
Gucken wir uns zusammen gleich an nach dem
So now the biggie in the room. We're talking master modes. Master modes is by far the biggest change we're doing on the ship gameplay. In general,
Ich dachte, auf dem Preview-Channel testen sie erstmal nur
and the master mode is affecting basically everything surrounding everything on the ship. The ship itself, the flight model a little bit, but specifically the items and what they do. And there are two master modes we're going to talk today about. One is SCM, which stands for Space Combat Maneuvering, and the other one is Navigation. So let's look into SCM. SCM is the mode that Brent currently has active. So you see the, Brent, can you go into the indication, please, for the master mode? Just point with the mouse there, if you can. Yeah, so this is your current master mode. It says SCM. When you use SCM for basically all the gameplay that is not traversal. So combat, mining, salvaging, you're using it for that. You have full access to your combat system. Your shields are working, your thruster boost is fully active, your weapons are working. It's the high performance, high alertness mode that you're in. However, we will heavily restrict how fast we can go. We can go with your ship. Okay, Brent, go to full max speed. So this Gladius on max speed and SCM can reach about 225 meters per second. That might seem slow compared to what you have in the Pew right now, but it's still pretty fast. However, you can extend that speed. Brent, if you just go forward and boost. So the Gladius can extend up to 550 meters per second. On this slide here, you can see the speed spaces we're talking about. So if you're just flying around in SCM, which is like the max speed of your ship, you can reach the 225 meters per second. If you boost, you can reach up to 500 or 550. However, that boost space is not spheric. That means if you boost forward, you reach higher speeds than if you boost backwards. That is really important for space combat maneuvering, or for dogfighting in general, because it discourages backstrafing. It actively actually punishes backstrafing, and it creates more interesting combat maneuvers. The PvP players among you, they basically call this encouragement to closing the gap, which is basically more forward-centric combat, which is much more exciting than backstrafing and just trying to get some shots on. It also forces you as combat players to commit to the decisions you did earlier in the fight. So it's going to be, we think it's much more exciting.
Ja, okay. Mal gucken. Aber wird der Boost, das interessiert mich, wird der Boost Speed beibehalten, sobald man den einmal drauf hat, oder wird man dann wieder langsamer, sobald man nicht mehr boostet?
When you want to fight or when you need to fight, right? The thing with the master mode switches is that they do not happen instantly. They take a while to move over. So we're now going to put our ship into the second mode, which is navigation. So navigation mode is basically the opposite of SCM. What this does, it gives you a high-speed, low-performance mode. Your shields, they will collapse. Your weapons will not be able to fire. Your defensive systems will not be functional. But you have higher speeds. So in nav mode, you can still reach the speeds of what you have currently in the PU, something, I mean, depending on the ship, sometimes 1,000 meters or 1,400 meters per second. But all your regenerative systems, so regenerating the weapon capacitor, your thruster boost, will be inhibited. So this means when you want to go fast, you need to be very, very careful when you want to swap over. So imagine you're in a fight and you want to escape. You should not do it right away, because if you just swap to navigation mode in the hope to flee, you are being left with no shields. And the first thing that will go offline when you are hitting with distortion guns is the quantum drive. And that is important, because the quantum drive will spool automatically up when you enter nav mode, and it will then unlock the higher speeds. So this means when you're in nav mode and you're fighting, you're very vulnerable, so you should get out as fast as possible. Luckily, navigation mode not only allows you a higher speed, but also gives you access to the new quantum travel experience, which we're going to show in a minute.
Okay, new quantum travel experience. Ich bin gespannt.
That is the nav point that you see there on screen. This is the point.
Warum das Schiff im MFD mitdreht? Ich glaube, weil es immer relativ zur Kopfbewegung quasi angezeigt wird.
Currently in the PU, when you quantum travel from A to B, you're actually not really moving. You're going on a spline, and you're teleported in every frame along that spline. So there's basically no meaningful gameplay we can add there. The new quantum travel experience.
Finde ich unnötig, aber ist halt jetzt erstmal so.
Physics is always on, which means when you quantum travel from A to B, you're actually accelerating using our awesome physics engine. And because it's physicalized, it gives us a lot more meaningful gameplay we can play with. So Brent will start the quantum travel in a second. What will happen then is your quantum drive will initiate the jump. You will see an effect that distorts the space around you, and you will accelerate forward. During the acceleration process, so this is the time until you actually reach your cruise speed, the ship will experience forces, and you as a player, you're responsible to counter these forces. So there is an element of failure. Okay, Brent, let's show that.
Oh, das finde ich gut.
And take your hands off.
Oh ja, da geht doch was schief hier gerade. Finde ich ganz cool, dass man auch was machen muss.
So what you just saw is basically the failed attempt to quantum travel. Brad wasn't countering the forces, therefore he was thrown out, the quantum bubble collapsed and threw you out. Your ship doesn't like that. IFCS needs 5-6 seconds to recover from that, during which time you're just tumbling, right? So and this is not just like dependent on your skills. If you think selecting a proper quantum drive doesn't matter in the future, think again. You want to take care of your quantum drive, you want to repair it and keep it in good shape. So if you buy a cheap one, your travel will not necessarily be faster, but it might be harder. Okay, so Brent, show us how it's done properly.
Okay, jetzt macht er es gut. Das UI wird aus irgendeinem Grund so richtig distorted. Das sieht irgendwie ein bisschen weird aus. Okay. So, jetzt steht da oben Bubble locked und jetzt ist man safe. Okay. Kann man sich denn jetzt trotzdem bewegen und quasi manuell aus der Bubble wieder rausbringen? Nee, ich finde der Effekt, da fehlt noch ein bisschen Pep, aber immerhin hat er jetzt Gameplay.
Of quantum travel, and this is for short-range jumps. Sometimes you jump somewhere or you go somewhere and you see the next point of interest is like 1,200 kilometers away. We're not going to force you anymore to travel that by hand. You will use a technique called quantum boosting. It's a quantum-based short-range jump for like something between a couple of 100 kilometers to like 30,000 kilometers or so. When you use quantum boosting,
gute Idee.
The process is practically the same, but the quantum bubble will not stabilize itself, so you need to be hands-on for the whole time, and the speeds are naturally, well, slower, but it's not slow, it's still quantum traveling, right? Okay, so Brent, can you boost to, oh, reinforcement needed. Yeah, let's go there, let's boost. Oh, actually, sorry. Thank you. Okay, so what Brent is currently showing here is, I think I forgot to mention, quantum boosting works in every direction. You don't need nav points.
Oh, geil. Okay. Das heißt, man kann sich einfach notboosten irgendwie weg. Das ist cool. Das gibt mehr Freiheit.
Brent is awesome, thank you. Okay, so now, please boost to reinforcements needed. So if there's a nav point and you boost, your quantum travel system will pick that nav point to go to. Welcome to Pyro 3.
Und da sind auch direkt ein paar Feinde,
As you
auch
can see,
neues
there's a
UI.
lot of UI happening right now. There's a lot of context there. And this is not an online demo, it's a single player. So that means all these units there, they're friendly and hostile, they're probably fighting with each other, which is a good segue to talk about AI improvements. And there's one man who can tell you all about AI. This is the man with the nicest legs at CIG. Well, please welcome Diego Marty Mason.
Mann mit den schönsten Beinen. Okay, was geht denn da ab? Was war denn das da gerade?
So who's excited to see the new AI changes? Hi everyone, as Yogi said, my name is Diego Marty Mason and I am the AI programmer focusing on the fly combat. Over the past year, we've been working on delivering a thrilling experience to the AI encounters. Let me first walk you through our journey. We first started looking at the current AI behavior in the PU. We quickly realized how uniform fighting was and how we were not using all of the tech available to us to make a more interesting experience. We had the foundations and we wanted to learn more about how you, the players, do your combat encounters in the verse. So we did this by getting combat recordings, analyzing videos, and internal playtesting, where we were hammering each other for hours. It was fun, unless you went up against experienced fighters like they are. Anyway, with all of these data, we started crafting the first prototype, with the focus of bringing that human behavior into the AI brain. When the first version was ready to be tested, I handed it out to one of the best internal pilots in the team, Yogi. So Yogi, what do you think about my first prototype?
It was an exercise of humility. It was an exercise of humiliation. I hated it, and I blame Diego.
So this was due to the AI being able to keep a good range control and a perfect orbit around their target while maintaining a constant firing solution. Come on, it's a computer. We learned a lot from our initial prototype, and it really helped us to define what we wanted to deliver.
AI
A combat
bitte
experience
irgendwann.
where the AI yet challenging,
Aber das
makes
ist hier,
mistakes,
glaube ich, nicht
just
der
like us
Punkt.
Humans.
Ich glaube, es geht
We
hier
want
um
players to leave every combat encounter with a feel of satisfaction by encouraging you to keep on the move and make use of the vehicle systems available to you, so you can at least try to win the fight. Let's see how we brought this new iteration of combat to life. We broke down in multiple stages. The first one, interception. Then the main engage phase, which we broke in different tactics: strafer, jouster, chaser, and finally, disengage. Let's switch to the demo. As you can see, Brent has encountered a skirmish. Let's talk more about the combat flow there. Okay, we will start with interception. After acquiring the target, the primary aim is to close the gap with the target. If the AI is already near the target, the interception phase is skipped completely. If it's too far, it will tell the AI to use the new master mode to swap into navigation mode and make use of the full speed to chase. Swapping back to SCM mode when we are in a striking distance. That leads us to our second phase, engage. Here the AI selects an adequate tactic based on combat environment. These are choosing via the traits and tactic selector system. You've heard more about them in the previous talk by Francesco. So let's talk about the strafer. As this is a 6 degrees of freedom game, it's the natural combat shape adopted by pilots. We have related the same behavior to our AI, ensuring also that orbits are closed and adding variations to include rolling. Strafers will break combat if they cannot keep an orbit. So now we see how the Hammerhead is being attacked by Hornets. These Hornets are jousters. Jousters consist of performing straying attacks whilst outputting a lot of firepower, blowing through, smooth turning, and repeating. We added variations for the more skilled pilots, like skid roll attacks, that provide a spiral-like flight path. Jousters are also good at monitoring for back strafers, so if they cannot get into strike distance, they will just break. And finally, the chaser. Now, Brain is going to get there in a second, but the chaser is going to be the Cutlass, which is following one of the Hornets and is allied with the Hammerhead. Now, we are really far away, 10 kilometers.
Ja, und geht jetzt in den Cruise Mode.
So the Chaser, it will try to always stay on the target 6. The idea is to force the target into a defensive stance by making them turn into the Chaser. This maneuver will be seen mainly in squads and atmosphere combat. The final phase, which can happen at any time, depending on the combat situation, is disengage. This phase is triggered based on constantly listening to multiple events in parallel. To name a few, critical health, damage to shields, or weapons depleted. There is also a shorter version of disengage that we call pace breaks.
Nee, Termine für das neue UI gibt's nicht. Wir kriegen es vielleicht schon mal in einem Experimental Mode oder sowas.
And the main objective is to perform a simple maneuver to gain a new advantage position and strike again. This new flow is what encompasses the core of our new AI fly combat experience, in combination with AI traits that will give designers the tools to tailor each combat encounter in the verse. Like, for example, they can choose the ace traits that will allow AI pilots to make use of all of the ship's angular velocity so they can keep a more precise orbit. So for some of you,
die Frage ist auch ein bisschen, wollen wir Termine?
Wollen wir enttäuscht werden? While we've been mainly focusing on fighter behavior, we've also started to follow the same process to other ship types, like gunships and capitals. In the near future, we want to deliver an experience where going against a capital ship like an Idris is a tough fight, that unless you bring the right combinations of tools, meaning ships that are equipped to take down capital ships, you will get demolished by their powerful turrets. Now, after all of the feedback, in our first internal playtest, we've received a lot of constructive and positive feedback. And Yogi's not longer being destroyed by the AI, so I think he likes it a bit more. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoy the new AI. And back to you, Yogi.
Thank you, Diego. Okay, so now we're going to talk about, we heard about how AI makes my life hard. Now let's talk about how to return the favor. We're talking weapons. So, the weapon and aiming systems in squadrons, they went through a lot of changes. I can only mention a couple of them, so I will go through them relatively quickly. First thing on our to-do list is basically weapon tuning. At the moment, almost all weapons in the PU are practically the same. In squadron, that's not the case. Almost all weapons have different properties. They have like different projectile velocities, different DPS numbers. But they're not just different in terms of these numbers. They also feel different. Remember the cinch cannons from like a couple of years ago? They were very powerful weapons, but they were extremely easy to use, which made them meta weapons. So we're going to bring the cinch cannon back, but we make sure that the amount of work you put into these cannons in order to employ them is on par with the other guns. So there's a lot of stuff that we're going to do to make sure that weapons have a lot of pros and cons and avoid meta. Specifically for this build, Brent is equipped with a nose.
Es gibt immer eine Meta.
A laser repeater. Can you fire it once? Yeah.
Aber es ist gut, dass
the other weapon he has is he has 2 weapons on the wings, which are Gats cannons, size 3. With one push, they're actually firing 2. So we're also gonna have burst weapons and so on. Okay, cool. So a problem we have in space games is controlling the engagement ranges, because we want to bring the fights close. But the problem is that, well, how do I put this? Weapons usually, in order to bring them close, what the game devs usually do is they just restrict the ranges. Like in the PU, a lot of the weapons have exactly a range of 1,400 kilometers, which means often the fights occur at 1,399 meters. This is not a good way for us to control the weapons. And we tried out things like damage fall off, so that bullets get more damaging the closer you are. But the problem there is, how do you communicate that to the player? So we're going to do a couple of different things with that in the future. Let's see when the graph comes on. Okay, so show of hands or show. Which of you has an Ares? Okay. As an Ares pilot, you might know the following problem. You have a target. You're going to aim at it. And then you This is, what the? Okay, I need to go back. Okay, there's actually some stuff not there anymore, I don't know. What happens when you aim with your crosshair over the pip is that you actually not aiming at the pip. The legacy system gives you a pip which does not show you where the weapon needs the pip. The new aiming system actually produces the pips based on where the weapon sees them and reprojects them on the target. That means the aiming information you're getting is actually much, much more precise. And this is a very interesting, sorry, I said the completely wrong thing. I'm sorry, I'm nervous. Okay. Controlling weapon ranges, sorry. I'll do it now, sorry. Okay, sorry. Okay, controlling ranges. In the future, all the weapons will get much, much longer ranges. Size 1 weapons will fly to up to 5 or 6 kilometers before the despawn. The way how we do this, how we do this is we're adding spread. Because spread is for us is a very good indication on how to control the ranges. This is not a one-to-one relationship there, so don't worry, you won't get like spread with like 20 degrees offset or something like that. Don't worry, right? But if we compare the spread of the weapon with the target size, we know when the weapon is in range. We know when you actually are close enough so that the majority of your hits can hit, and we're telling that. Okay. We're telling you that via the aiming system now. So let's go back to the demo. If you get a green pip and a green crosshair, it means you have a high chance of your weapons hitting the target. If Brent takes a little bit of a step back and waits until the pips and the crosshair turn red, this does not mean that the ship is out of range. You can still hit it, but you might waste bullets.
Okay, finde ich eine gute Idee.
I'm not sure if you saw that before, but if you look at how many bullets are in the air, you're actually getting a lot of bullets, a lot more bullets, and it just looks a lot better. Okay, Brent, just kill these guys now. Bam. Oh well.
Schießt der gerade nur mit einer Waffe?
That was this one. Okay, the thing you might have seen is that Brent is loaded with size 3 guns on size 3 gimbals. That means we're removing the M-1 system.
Okay. Mochte ich immer, aber wenn es Sinn ergibt.
The original intention of controlling the performance between joystick and mouse players just didn't work out, and the new aiming system is flexible enough to deal with these differences. So we're just removing it and keep going. So, next point, pip grouping. If you have different weapons with different projectile velocities, you will get different pips. Because merging the pips makes no sense for us anymore, because the weapons are going to have vastly different projectile speeds. So if Brent, for example, enables all the weapons now,
okay,
you get
deswegen hat
separate pips. So let's talk a bit about pip optimizations here. And this is the thing I messed up before. Again, who is an Aries? If you aim at your target, you get a pip, right? Your Aries owners know that. You aim at the pip, you shoot, you miss. And this is because the pip is not being shown where you need it. In the future, we're actually offsetting the pip where the weapon sees it and then reproject this onto the crosshair. Like that. And when you then hit, you hit. No, when you then shoot, you hit. And this is, of course, also communicated by the aiming system. So when the pips turn green and when the crosshair turns green, just shoot. Okay, so now to the actual best part. We cannot take down this hammerhead. It's too big for us. But we can cripple it. The weak points on the hammerhead are the turrets. The way we're going to do this in the future is with precision targeting mode. Brent?
Nice. Precision targeting, okay.
Enable precision targeting mode. There we go.
Ha! Ist quasi wie in Starfield.
What this does, it does 3 things. You get this full zoom on the target. You get a lower RPM of your weapons, which increases or decreases the spreads for more precision. And you get the painting mechanic. Anywhere where you put your crosshair on that ship, it will tell the gimbal system where to aim at. So if Brent now attacks the turrets, your aiming system will automatically lead the shots.
Okay, cool, ja. Aber dann kann man ja gar keine krassen Manöver fliegen, während man in
Bam! One turret down.
Aber das ist geil. Trotzdem, ich bin gespannt, wie sich spielt tatsächlich, weil man kann ja dann wirklich keine Manöver machen, wenn man in dem Modus ist.
Okay, so this hammerhead now understood that it's not good. It doesn't stand a chance right now. But this will be the way how you in the future will fight against sub-targets.
Ja, okay, geil, weil dann ergibt es wirklich Sinn, ey, jetzt, wir schaffen das hier nicht, wir haben 2 Türme verloren, Abzug.
So you can do very, very precise
Man muss gar nicht das Schiff zerstören.
And there's no aim assist that kind of like destroys your aiming processes. Okay, so the fight is now over. Sorry, I need to rush this a little bit because I messed up stuff before. And we're going to look at Pyro 3. Okay, Brent, switch to nav mode and bring us down to that landing spot. So Pyro 3 is also called Bloom. It's a very big planet with a nice atmosphere.
Gimbal Auto-Aim haben wir ja jetzt quasi auch schon.
And,
aber das ist halt im Präzisionsmodus richtig cool.
Oh well, something's wrong with the throttle. We'll try to go down as fast as possible though.
Kann man nicht jetzt auch schon Subcomponents sogar targeten? Aber ja, egal.
I said gameplay demo might have bugs. Okay. Gonna go there now? Okay. Yeah, steeper angle, that works. Okay, so the thrusters on the ship.
Kommen jetzt Flaps?
They do not like they do like the vacuum of space. We're talking spaceships here, right? And we have thruster efficiency curves on these thrusters. So at some point, especially the MEF thrusters, they will cease working because they don't like atmosphere. They will overheat very, very quickly. So there's the question, what happens when you go down to a planet and you want to rotate your ship with your thrusters off? Well, we'll see. Can you go to external view? Can you waggle your tail?
Nice. Okay, cool.
Okay, back first person. Okay, so what you see here is the new aerodynamics model. Because obviously our left stick is somewhat damaged or so, we can't be as fast as we want. Actually, Brent, can you try W and S on the keyboard instead? Oh, it doesn't work. Oh. No, it doesn't. Yep. Okay. No, the stick is affecting us. Okay. Anyways, we're gonna go down as much as fast as possible. So the new aerodynamic system is a complete replacement of the aerodynamic system that you currently have, and you need your control surfaces to actually turn the ship around. It simulates the airflow over your lift surfaces, and therefore, the slower you become, the less effective those control surfaces will be in order to turn your ship. So we can demonstrate this. So if Brent just sits here and yaws left and right, you will see he cannot go further than that. That is in line with what real airplanes also experience when they're trying to use the rudder to yaw left and right. So what Brent can do here is he can roll and he can pull to actually change his direction.
Okay, nice. Das ändert in der Atmosphäre alles.
Okay, so just for this demo, we added a button. The button is called Thruster Disconnect, because at the moment in the PU, when you go through a planet, you're using the thrusters to rotate. We're not doing that anymore. So Brent, disconnect the thrusters, please, and put the ship into a purposeful stall. A stall happens when the airflow over a wing ceases, or over a lift surface ceases. And then at some point, you will not have any authority anymore, and your ship will not turn and so on, and you will basically fall out of the sky. That is naturally a state that every plane wants to avoid naturally, right? And this is happening right here. Brent is not able to use the control surfaces right now because the ship is in a process of stalling. However, the airflow will pull the nose back into the wind, and once you have enough speed, he can actually, well, he gets authority back over this control surfaces.
Nice. Das heißt, man kann jetzt richtig abstürzen. Stall, also quasi man hat nicht mehr genug Wind, um irgendwas zu machen.
That means for you as players, what you can actually do, you can do
Reclaimer macht halt gar
you
nichts.
can do pure gliding if you want to. You can even do
hat
like
keine
competitions,
Control
like, I don't know,
Surfaces.
like drop
Die
ships
braucht
out of
Thruster.
orbit and then see how far they glide. This is all possible with a new system. So let's talk about the problem, how do you come to a stop now? To come to a stop with the new system, you need to purposefully put the ship into a stall. But don't worry, when we don't have the thrusters disconnected, IFCS will help you. So you're gonna bring down the speed more and more until you're reaching stall speed, which is about now. And then the thrusters will kick in and catch you. That means, however, you are now in a state that the thrusters don't like, right? So at the moment we have turned this up, but in the future you will not be able to hold this for long. So if Brent, for example, now from a hover, strafe is left, more left, more left, more left. The wind flow again pulls the ship over, and you go forward again.
Okay. Hover Mode 2.0, ich feier's.
Okay, so now Brent, now show us
Nicht
how
wirklich
to come
Hover
to
Mode,
a,
aber
hover, and do we have some water here? Oh yeah, there's our point. Okay.
also ich feiere das absolut.
Okay, so there's our landing point. Can become a little bit slower, I don't know, 100 meters per second. So we're trying to land somewhere here. Whoa, look at this.
Ja, gut, das haben wir natürlich gestern schon gesehen, aber es ist immer noch cool.
Yeah, that water is great, like, awesome.
Oh, was macht er jetzt?
So now we're coming to a, so now Brent will try to land with a broken throttle. And yeah, he's aided a little bit here by the landing gear. So he has landing gear out, I think, because that automatically enables precision mode at the moment, so that you're a little bit slower. But you can of course like turn this off as a player. And then you come smoothly down to a landing. The best way to land your ship is in decoupled, because you can just like very smoothly land it on the surface. And clunk. And now you're gonna power down the ship.
Ich glaube, der ist noch halb auf dem Felsen gelandet, oder?
Engines off first. Then we're in the relaxed pose again, as Ines showed before. Power off. And the canopy off. No, open, not off. Don't put the canopy off.
Kein Ejection Seat.
And get out of the ship. And probably go for a swim or something. Okay, that was a bit of a buggy, bumpy ride, but thank you for taking the time with us.
Okay, er ist nur ein bisschen schräg gelandet. Okay, ja, cool. Also das wird natürlich dem ganzen Atmosphärenflug nochmal ordentlich Tiefe verleihen.
And we'll see you in the verse. Thank you.
Nice, 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 nice.
Thank you so much, Yogi. Everybody, it's time for lunch. We'll be back around
It's time for lunch. Jetzt gucken wir natürlich auf der Website.
Get yourself some drinks, give yourself some snacks, stretch your legs, and then be back in Hall A when we come back, because from this point forward, you're not going to want to be anywhere else. We'll see you at 2:45, everybody. Take care.
Es wird wohl spannend. Okay. Dann muss ich das jetzt einmal hier ausmachen. Here comes the Cutter Scout, introducing introducing Preview Channel, das wollten wir uns angucken. Am Double King, ja, auf jeden Fall. Ich bin gespannt und Lunch Break und Pinkelpause gleich für mich. Ich muss echt pinkeln. Read on for details. Okay. Throughout the development of Star Citizen, we've achieved numerous technological milestones, each bringing us closer. Ich überflieg's mal schnell und gebe euch dann die Zusammenfassung. Es ist quasi PTU 2.0. Also es ist einfach nur nochmal PTU. Um halt neue Technologie zu testen. Tatsächlich, Pyro. Mit Pyro startet es. Intrepid explorers will be excited to learn that we'll be properly inaugurating the preview channel by opening the Pyro system within the environment this month. Der Monat geht ja nicht mehr lang. As mentioned above, there will be plenty of unknowns. Also da wird es auch ordentlich technologisch interessant. Also, uiuiui. Ah ja, am 31. Oktober. An Halloween geht's ab. Und natürlich die Leute, die das 40 € Digital Goodie Packs gekauft haben, die bekommen, also ne, jetzt nochmal kommt Leute, holt euch das Digital Goodies Pack, dann kriegt ihr diesen coolen Helm hier und noch ein paar andere Sachen und dann, das ist wirklich so unfassbar teuer. Ich hätte mir das geholt, ich finde die Goodie Packs immer ganz nett, aber 40 € für einen Helm, Anzug und ein paar andere Dinge, die man wegwerfen kann? Ja, irgendwie noch also ein paar Ingame-Items halt. Endlich pinkeln gehen, ja. Dabo schreibt, bin seit 3 Tagen in-game erst und es macht so Spaß und ich finde alles so mega cool. Ja, vor allem am Anfang, genießt das macht Spaß, alles das erste Mal zu entdecken und so weiter. Lass dich nicht zu sehr von den Bugs nerven. Irgendwann wird es ein bisschen ruhiger, aber ne, so spannende Zeit für Star Citizen, wenn jetzt bald Pyro reinkommt. Ich hoffe, du hast viel Spaß. Und willkommen in der Community, ne? We can't wait to hear what you think. Ja, okay. Gut. Das ist geil. Das ist sehr geil. Dann machen wir jetzt hier an der Stelle Pause und wir sehen uns dann wieder in dürfte wieder um Mitternacht sein, ja. Mit Living on the Edge, dann Destination Adventure und dann zur Closing Ceremony. Mal sehen, wie lange die geht, ob das noch spannend wird oder so. Auf jeden Fall, ich hab Bock, ich hab viel Spaß gehabt, viele neue Infos und ich hoffe, ihr hattet auch Spaß und wir sehen uns dann. Wäre cool, wenn man in Stanton durch den Jump Point fliegt und dann automatisch mit dem Pyro-PTU verbunden wird. Das wäre cool, wird aber nicht so sein, weil das ja genau die Technologie benötigt, die in dem Preview-Channel ja erst vorgestellt wird. Also, die ist ja noch nicht in den PTU oder Live-Servern, deswegen ginge das technisch leider nicht, soweit ich das verstehe. Aber cool wäre es auf jeden Fall. Wir warten einfach, bis es dann halt im Lauf den Live-Servern dann ist, gegebenenfalls. Okay, nette Idee. Wir sehen uns dann. Habt einen schönen Abend. Falls ihr nicht noch weiter zuguckt, ist natürlich dann alles auf YouTube zum Nachholen. Da braucht ihr euch also keine Sorgen zu machen. Und bis dann. Hey, Turby.